I know we started last week by saying, this is the end of ranking season. We're ranking the most valuable players in the NBA. You can't get any bigger than this. This is the end of this chapter of our NBA offseason. I thought that was true. Went a few more days. I thought about it some more. And I was like, here go one more for you. We got to do an all-time ranking. We're going to rank the all-time guards. You see it by the title. Last year we did the top 30 NBA players of all time. Now we're doing the top 30 guards in NBA history.
It's an elite meme. That's one of my favorite LeBron moments.
I know, it's so good. Yeah, man. Again, I thought that was going to cap off ranking season. I thought that was the best way. But we can't do a T3 ranking season without an all-time ranking. It's got to be a yearly tradition.
Yeah.
We are liars at heart. We've told you
in my
this.
nature.
Exactly. We've told you this so many times.
We're good liars, though. We don't disappoint when we lie.
It's a pleasant surprise.
We actually enhance everyone's experience.
There we go, man. So like we said, top 30 guards of all time. So point guard plus shooting guard. Whoever you consider to be a guard. If it's somebody like big, like a Paul George who plays the two, he's a wing. He's not a guard. We're not going to count him. It's like there's some big guards on here, but my criteria was you had to be listed at shooting guard. More years you needed small forward. So there were some guys in the middle like George Gervin or T-Mac who I let them be on this list, but they're kind of pushing it. Yeah, man, combination of who's the best player, who's the most accomplished, who had longevity, all that. Everything you come to expect from all-time ranking, we're doing it today.
Okay. Let's roll in, man.
Let's get into this bag.
Let's jump straight into it.
The cranium is crazy. Oh, my God.
I mean, I really don't know what to say.
Crayon eaters, rejoice!
So again, like always, we're going to start with 30 through 26, the bottom half, and go up by blocks of 5 every time until we see all of our top 30 lists. You guys know how it goes. We're starting off with 26 through 30. Mo, who is your first 5 names?
Here we fucking go, dog. All right, so 26, Klay Thompson. 27, Sidney Moncrief. 28, David Thompson. There's going to be a whole lot of those this episode. 29. For the audio listeners, when I say a whole lot of those, you hear it's like quick silence. It's a salute. I won't say too much. It's a salute. Respect your elders.
Salute to someone from back in the day who we got to respect, but back in the day. Honestly, you're saying that to those guys. Those guys played in the 80s and 90s. I'm not saluting them. We're saluting the guys in the 60s and 70s. That's the saluting.
They deserve salutes. You don't create the definition of salutes. It depends on the person. So for me, it's a salute, bro. 29, Tony Parker.
I'm not 30. Saluting 1995.
No. 30,
anything pre-2009 gets a salute from Mo.
Nah, that's crazy.
If it happened before Hannah Montana aired for the first time, it gets a salute from Mo. Pre-Phineas and Ferb, salute.
Pre-Phineas and Ferb is nuts, bro. I will never, ever disrespect my GOAT, Josh Smith, bro. Are you kidding me?
Say your last 2 picks again. I cut you off.
Say it again?
Say your last 2 picks again. I think we cut you off laughing at your salute.
Oh, yeah. 29, Tony Parker, and 30, Tracy McGrady.
Okay. Interesting. So obviously the thing that jumps off the page first is Tracy McGrady barely made your list.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Tracy McGrady.
Oh, before we go
ahead.
I forgot. We have honorable mentions. Do you have honorable mentions for us?
Not really. I mean, I had.
Okay.
I'm not really. I'll get into my honorable mentions later on as we go on through this list.
But explain McGrady.
We can go ahead and skip that part. But yeah, McGrady, tremendous player, one of the most influential players. But when you sit down and just look at what he really did throughout his career, of course, like some of it has to do with his with injuries, which genuinely cut off a lot of his prime. Other parts of it have to do with the circumstances. Team was ass and stuff like that. But he's really like how we look at Joel Embiid today when it comes to not being able to succeed in the playoffs. That's Tracy McGrady, except it's way worse.
Yeah, he's one of the, again, never made it out of the first round in an entire career, which is unbelievable. Listen, I have him a lot higher than you do. I'll say that. I respect the skill more than you do, but I fully understand putting him lower. I guess I'll say how I graded this, and I'll let you tell me how you view that compared to how you're viewing things. I kind of weight everybody on 3 scales. You have peak, which is 3 to 5 years, accolades, and longevity. And when I'm comparing them, I kind of ended up going if I'm debating 2 players, is who has 2 out of 3 of those. So T-Mac is still pretty high for me because his 3 to 5 year peak is great. He had 3 straight years being top 6 in MVP voting. 2 of those years he was first team All-NBA, 1 year second team All-NBA. Pretty efficient for his time. And I know the playoff success wasn't there, but he's decorated enough and has enough of a really high peak that I put him above a guy like Clay, Sidney Moncrief, these guys. So I understand it, but I respect the talent a little bit more.
I can agree with it. I'm not too mad.
I'm kind of shocked though, because for a guy whose life is really based off of aura and Mo, I'm surprised McGrady is not higher, right? For a guy who loves Paul George, I'm surprised McGrady's not higher because Tracy is like the Paul George of kind of that era where obviously
V1, yeah.
You know, like Kobe is the guard out of that era. He is the best one. But you ask a lot of people and go back to that time, there's like that very short span where people are like, hey, it's really between Kobe and T-Mac, right? Like the scoring and the way that T-Mac was able to get his buckets was really, really entertaining for a lot of people. Like if T-Mac was coming up, you know, if he was playing right now, you would see all types of, you know, edits on TikTok. You would see like the theme songs that he had. Like he would have been like the Paul George. So it is kind of interesting that you don't have him a little higher. But for everything that like Isaac was saying in terms of criteria, I get it. You can look at like his basketball reference page. And I think that this lines up. But I think if you start looking at like the influence and the way that and like the way that people view T-Mac,
yeah,
he really is like you just had to be there to fully understand where like how good he was.
He's one of those guys who's cemented in NBA history for all reasons that has nothing to do with like what he actually did and how he, you know, broke the game or like helped influence the game or had like dominant runs in the playoffs specifically, you know? He has the shoes, the aura, you know, the bag, the wiggle, the influence on the game and shit like that. He has all that. But I'm thinking when I think about like top 30, like you got to get it done at the end of the day.
I don't know. I mean, team success is part of it, but it's not everything. Like it has to me, it's like 1/3 of it. Like I said, you have accolades, longevity, and peak. And Donovan said, if you look at the basketball reference page, this adds up. I mean, in terms of team accomplishments, yeah, but I think individual accolades, he has a pretty impressive run. Like I said, his 5-year peak from 2001 to 2005, 6th in MVP, 4th, nothing, and then 7th. That's not that common. 2 first-team All-NBAs, 2 second-team All-NBAs, and 1/3. We're going to see a running theme here. First-team All-NBAs in a bunch like that are not easy to come by. You would think all the best players generation you think of just rattled them off. Not everybody does. Reggie Miller never made higher than 3rd-team All-NBA. It's really impressive, especially it was during the beginning of Kobe's prime too. Like it was a pretty good era of the league, and he was twice in a row, and in that 4-year span, always in the top 3 of his position at least, being first or second team. Mm-hmm. Like that's a really good individual run, and I think individual accomplishments and accolades and how you're measured against the league. Are you considered one of the 10 most valuable players every year? Are you considered one of the 5 most on All-NBA? Like that matters to me almost as much as championships.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I have to give him a pass though because Doc Rivers was his coach at the same time. So like they're blowing all these playoff leads. You could look at the sideline and be like, yeah, that's his fault.
Yeah. David Thompson is an interesting player. Mm-hmm. I have some of these guys, I have all these guys higher than you do. Besides David Thompson, I think I have him in this tier. Mm-hmm. He's so interesting because he is so utterly dominant for 4 years.
Exactly.
He falls off.
Yeah.
Literally has 4 All-Star years. 2nd in MVP, 7th, 3rd, 8th. Very efficient, averaging 25 points per game in all 4 of those in the late 70s on 3% higher than average true shooting percentage. That's pretty impressive for that era. But after 4 years, it just devolves into nothing. So he's very hard to rank.
Yeah, he came into the league at like 23 years old or something like that, and was straight hooping. Pretty much came into the league towards the peak of his prime or whatever. And seeing what he was able to do and see that like translate into the playoffs on a consistent basis was very impressive. But at the same time, too, again, like great peak, but also not much to show for it.
Yeah, and you know, is what it is. 4-year peak. That's like I said. There's for me, like I said, 3 categories. Accolades. He doesn't have many. Peak, great. Longevity, he has 0. So when you have 0 on longevity, you're going to be in the bottom half.
100%.
All right, let's reveal the next person so we can compare some names because this is a very interesting tier. Ooh. All right, next up. Before I say my 3 here, I have 3 honorable mentions. I just got my first cuts. At 31, I had Devin Booker. 32, Pete Maravich. And 33, Reggie Miller. Those are my first 3 to make it.
Reggie Miller did not make your list.
2 of those names are popular names from people that play 2K and hear about these legends of the game. and they think these guys have to be top 30, they fucking absolutely are not. And you guys know what I'm talking about. It's not Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker will actually get his way on this list once he has more longevity.
Fair.
But the two old heads do not deserve to be here. I don't care. But my bottom 5, Klay Thompson, 26, 27, Joe Dumars, 28, Kyrie Irving, 29, Manu Ginobili, and 30, David Thompson.
Wow. You got Ginobili over Reggie Miller. People are going to be mad about that.
Tell me why. Tell me why I should be upset about having the 4-time champion, integral part of a dynasty who has tons of success, who had his own 2 All-Star years when he actually played the high enough minutes, who made an All-NBA team. Why should I feel bad about putting that guy above somebody, Reggie Miller, who only made All-NBA twice, 3rd team, was never higher than 13th in MVP voting, never made the finals. Did he make the finals? Am I drawing a blank?
No, he made the finals.
No, maybe made the finals one spot, but I forgot. I said that, then I was like, oh wait, now I remember him in the finals. Never won a final, so never had like the success to really push him over the edge there. A couple good runs, making conference finals, but no real individual success to point to. He doesn't rack up the accolades, doesn't rack up the rings like Manu does. I don't know why. Like, who should I put him above on this bottom 5 and feel really confident in that?
I mean, you could put him above Manu. Like that's just
Why?
Yeah.
That's the one. Just because it's different. Manu, the idea of Manu is
I agree. I know what you're getting. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's very, very easy to take everything that Manu did in his career and extrapolate it and say, hey, if he was actually a starter the way that he should have been,
Yeah.
he would be in 15th on this list or whatever, right? And everyone's going to go back and you say, hey, he was held back, he was doing all this. You actually still have to rank people based off of where they were, what they did. And I think for Reggie, being able to be the number 1 for the Pacers, who had a lot of success, and like a lot of teams in that era, just got stopped because they were playing Jordan, right? Like,
Yeah.
Especially out east, you run it into that buzzsaw a whole bunch of times. But I mean, there's a lot of other guys on this list and that don't necessarily have like the high end accomplishments. And I think for Reggie, for me, the reason why I put him on my list is because I actually think he's a little bit underrated offensively.
Okay.
I think doing what he did and running around and being like this off-ball guy in 1989, right, and all throughout the 90s, it provided a different style of basketball that people weren't really ready for. And if Reggie was playing in, if he was 20 years later, maybe not even 20, maybe 10 years later, if he was able to be in Ray Allen's position and you're able to get the volume of threes, his primary skill set, and really, elevate that, it's probably a different story for how we're looking at Reggie and his points and stuff like that. And I think that
I agree.
And I think that you still see a long period of success for the Pacers with Reggie at the helm, despite a lot of the changes that they went through throughout the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah, I agree. But again, you said with Manu, we can't extrapolate what we think it can be. Mm-hmm. Even if you just look at what he did as a 6th man, he has the exact same accomplishments as Reggie Miller as an individual. Mm-hmm. Reggie Miller, and I reiterate, I measure this with 3 criterias: 3 to 5 year peak, accolades, and longevity. In Reggie Miller's 4-year peak, 3rd-team All-NBA, 3rd-team All-NBA, 3rd-team All-NBA 3 times with the gap year in between, just 3rd-team, and 1 MVP ballot, 16th. And those were good teams. That was 95 through 98. So he was leading good offense, and I understand that that's important, right? His teams were consistently very good. They were around 10th at the worst in offensive rating all those years. Actually, never mind, they were 15th in 1997. So they weren't high-level offenses per se. You look at Manu, obviously the championships are the championships, right? You can decide how much you want to weigh that. But Manu from 2008 to 2011, 10th in MVP, 3rd team All-NBA, 6th and 6th man of the year, then 11th in MVP, 8th in MVP, 3rd team All-NBA. He was higher on the MVP ballot as a 6th man consistently, and has just as many All-NBAs as Reggie Miller, despite not being a first option. Like, if you want to think Reggie Miller would be more talented across eras because the shooting would translate to today, great. I don't necessarily hate you thinking that he's a slightly more talented player. If we're just measuring what they did in their era, I think it's undoubtable that one was more successful, and that outweighs any talent difference.
I wasn't trying to play the Joker card, but here I go.
Go for it.
Who goes toe-to-toe with the Knicks? Who's doing that? Who's looking Spike Lee in his face? Who's giving the internet a choking meme for eternity? Nobody's doing
Yeah.
that like Reggie Miller.
Counterpoint.
Don't
Who
bring that
blocked
up.
James Harden from the back? Who blocked James Harden from the back and gave you a year's worth of James Harden downfall memes? I know you enjoyed that.
I did enjoy that. Shout out, Manu. Listen, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That really did help me. I was gonna be sick if they won that series. But
Who was on the beautiful game 2014 team?
listen, all I'm saying is, shout
Who
out,
swept LeBron twice?
shout out, Manu. It's hard because there also is the piece where you're playing off a top 7 player,
sure,
top
yeah.
8 player of all time, and obviously, like, if you look at the Spurs stuff, a lot of the stuff that they were doing is because of Manu. Like, they're able to be as dynamic on the perimeter, even getting downhill, all that stuff.
For sure.
The scoring because of Manu. But it's a little bit different being one. But I do hear your argument before, because for a lot of guys on this list, and especially whenever we get to all-time rankings, we can do like the if, ands, or buts all day. But there does come a point where what happened, and you just have to judge people
Exactly.
based off of the results. So I do get it. I think that Reggie should be on this list. So if you want to put Manu higher than Reggie, that's cool. But I do think that Reggie is one of the 30 best guards of all time.
He could be 30. He can put over David Thompson. He has a short enough run. That's cool with me.
Yeah, I also appreciate the longevity that Reggie Miller had throughout those treacherous Pacers teams as well. It's harder to give credit to a dude whose team consistently, like, not consistently sucks, but this doesn't match up to competition at all. I think those are also part of the reasons why he has gotten snubbed and doesn't have as many accolades when it comes to little shit like all-star games and things of that nature. So I see him as the talent, and I appreciate it a little bit more, and I kind of overlook the accolades because he was truly ahead of his time.
Again, being ahead of your time doesn't mean much. I mean, it means that you'd be good today, which great in hypothetical. Awesome.
Focus
I
on the
agree
other
with that.
part. Yeah, focus on the other part. I would say not the last 10 sentences.
Well, what other part you said, if I remember correctly, you said
Yeah.
that his team wasn't quite good enough, so he didn't have the All NBA team
Yeah,
because the
it's
team sucked.
it's easy to snub someone.
Making
like
your
that,
team
yeah.
good is a baseline level of being an all-time great player. Is lifting your team, driving high level offense, driving wins.
There's
Yeah,
only
doesn't that
so
team
much
success?
that a guard can do. He like what we see Trae Young going through right now. It's like kind of similar things where it's like, yeah, that guy kind of sucks. Like
Trae Young isn't a top 30 guard of all time either.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like we understand why he doesn't get a certain level of credit and respect, and
For sure.
I think similar things are happening right now.
Yeah, and then I think that's the difference between being a top 30 guard and not being able to, he had a long career. Like you said, a lot of longevity.
Yeah.
Never quite had a run of individual excellence or team excellence that measures up to people above him. So it's tough. I feel like he has TV announcer clout.
TV announcer cloud.
Yeah, it's more MSG. It's more MSG announcer.
Yeah,
clout.
MSG clout too.
Yeah, it's really that.
That's really what it is. But okay.
Well, hey, how do you guys feel about the rest of these names here? Kyrie's here. How do you guys feel about that? People are good. That's gonna be a very contentious pick on this list, obviously.
I mean, I don't hate it at all.
I think Kyrie deserves to be on here. It's interesting that you have Clay over Kyrie. I can understand.
And why is that?
I can understand it because he has the defensive resume in terms of like, being known as a defender on the NBA consistently, whatever, one of the best shooters as well. And he's uber consistent throughout his career, unlike Kyrie, who's had like wild ups and downs.
Yeah.
But
We know what Kyrie is as a first option. It's not pretty. He's an amazing second option. Like one of the best second option guards you could hope for playing next to a true like two-way playmaker like we see with LeBron and Luka.
yeah,
Kyrie's like the ultimate weapon to put next to him. Klay Thompson's pretty amazing in that role too. Klay Thompson is wildly more successful in that role, obviously part of a dynasty. And it's hard to decide how much you want to weigh team success versus just skill and stuff. It has to matter some, and one is just as, equally valuable as a second option potentially in the primes, way more accomplished. Longevity is similar. I don't know.
yeah, it's hard. They've both been
They're close
injured
by for a
most.
reason. There is a reason
Yeah.
they're right next to each other.
Yeah, exactly. So if I say a few words, I know I could get you to easily like flip them or whatever, but it's just too.
Yeah,
spots.
26,
It's just interesting.
Clay, Dumars, and Kyrie. I don't feel passionate about that order. You could put Kyrie above Clay, and I don't have a problem with it, as long as you view all three of those guys in the same tier.
I thought Dumars would be a little bit higher, but because I had him a little bit higher. Surprise, surprise. But Yeah, it's just interesting. Shout out to David Thompson. No one cares.
Facts. Shout out Skywalker. All right, let's see Donovan's bottom 5.
All right. I have Sidney Moncrief at 26. I have Reggie Miller at 27. Ray Allen at 28. Manu at 29. And then Kyrie at 30.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay, so you have Monty in the same exact place as me. I love that we discussed that positioning for quite a while.
Yes. It's more about Reggie being over him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have the 2 shooters over him. Kyrie at the to round it out. Sidney Moncrief at 26, which I'm assuming actually Mo has him at 27. I'm assuming you have him higher.
I've got him a good amount higher.
Yeah. I think like for Moncrief is cool. And if you want to put him higher, okay. He really is like, he's Drew Holiday with the bag. And
Yeah.
wow, that is insanely valuable. Like to be, an elite defender and they'll also be able to go out on the other end and give you 20. The scoring just wasn't as high as what some of, the other guys were. And even the people that I put above him, I think they're a little bit more plug and play, have a little bit more accomplishments. So that's why I put him at 26. But I'm interested to see where you put him because I'm going to judge you. But
really,
it's going to be.
Well, I'll give my big Sidney Moncrief spiel when we get to him because I have him
really high.
a lot higher.
Okay.
A lot higher.
a lot higher. Is interesting. A lot higher.
More than a tier higher.
Okay.
Oh, he's 13. I see.
13 would be crazy. But I'm a lot higher. I mean, listen, he's a DPOY, and whenever we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Miller over Allen. That's tough. Their individual accolades are very similar. I guess Miller's probably more accomplished as a one option leading offense. Ray Allen didn't lead good teams when he was one option, even though he produced numbers. But being a complimentary piece on championship team is also like
that's a situational
something.
though.
It's
that
not
has
everything.
Nothing to do with
it's not
this
everything.
player. I think that's just a situational, and I think you need to like take a step back, use that perspective, and see the player for what he is, rather than like what actually happened at the same time.
No, I mean, sure, but we also can't ignore. It's an all-time convo. We can't ignore.
Taking a step back isn't ignoring
rings.
it. It's just like acknowledging. Yeah, you won a ring. This player was there, and this player is there, and you had a certain system around you.
I know what you mean. He wasn't Danny Green. He wasn't just there. He was an integral part. Like I see what you're getting at. It's like they had a stacked team, so that's why they won, and that's not something Reggie Miller ever had the fortune of having. Ray Allen's a big part of why that team worked. He wasn't just along for the ride.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I mean, listen, he was more along for the ride for the second ring, for the Miami one.
I don't give a shit about the Miami ring. That's the one where he was along for the ride.
Yeah, and again, listen, you hit the most important shot in NBA history. Again, shout out to you, Ray. Like that moment in itself gets you to a certain place. I just think that like when you start talking about like early Ray and how talented he is and how much of a different player that you think of, like I think Ray Allen really should get a lot of credit in terms of how his game really, really changed from his days in Milwaukee and Seattle to what he was in Boston. Because people don't understand how athletic he was. I think people kind of get shocked whenever you go back and you see these, you see the highlights and you see the games and you're like, oh, wow, he has like he actually has bounce.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the conversation from really like 6 years ago when Clay was still healthy was like, oh, if Clay ever got his own team, what would that look like? It would probably look something very, very similar to what Ray Allen's years look like, right? In terms of production, obviously not like aesthetically, but it would look like that because Ray really was talented like that. I just think that I really do think that Reggie is a little bit underrated at this point because I think the last couple of years people have started to feel a little bit closer to Isaac. But they're like, you look at the page and you're like, wait, what is this guy even like great at, right? Like, why is he here? Why is he in these conversations? And I think as somebody who is one of the greatest shooters of all time and has a lot of that, like the off-ball movement and the gravity and all this other stuff, like I think that you can do a lot with him, and being that for like 18 years means a lot for me personally. So that's why I have him at 27.
Yeah, and I don't want to pretend that I'm being dismissive of Reggie Miller, but I'm not trying to say he's like not very talented. It's just I think, again, you can simultaneously think that he's incredibly skilled and would be incredibly great in this modern era with the shooting. He was ahead of his time. You can think all these things, and also realize that when comparing him to other Hall of Famers and gauging who has the better mix of accomplishments, skill, and whatnot, he just didn't accomplish much at all. Like Ray Allen has double his All-Star games, whatever that means for you. The same amount of All-NBA teams. Obviously, has a ring and he doesn't. More, I don't really care about counting stats, but he has like better averages and stuff. If that matters to you, obviously Ray Allen's insanely efficient. Also one of the best shooters of all time. The same way Ray Allen was, in the same way Reggie Miller is. Ray Allen matches that. Like, I just don't really see what Miller brings. Like, if Miller had like won something as a first option, I would understand. You give him that credit for being able to do it with a much harder circumstance. But it's not like that led to tremendous success either.
I'll say,
but making the finals does mean something. So I'm not trying to say he just was just running around like a bozo.
and I'll say this also, probably his best opportunity for a championship. People are out here throwing beers at Ron Artest, and it's like, hey, listen, like you let the Hulk loose. Like, he was gonna get the ring. It was his whole career was about to be complete, and then people want to go ahead and wild out, and you know what happened. But like Reggie Miller was on the precipice of having that go down. So it that part sucks for him. But he's a very interesting person and interesting.
He's so
player.
Interesting. Yeah. It's crazy how you think he's underrated and I think he's overrated. And I don't think either of us are wrong in our assessments. Like, he's just such a polarizing player in the mix of like, people are going to view his career based on today's game. You have to. You're someone like Russell watching today's, and people are going to see like, oh, he would translate perfectly. But how much does that matter compared to what he actually did? Like, he's always going to be very interesting history for that reason.
For sure.
Okay,
we can move on. This is the most time I've ever spent in the bottom five. I like it. It's going to be a nice long ranking. Next five, from 21 through 25, I have Walt Frazier at 21, Ray Allen at 22, Damian Lillard at 23, Tony Parker at 24, and Clyde Drexler at 25.
Tony at 24 is wild.
It's too high?
No, it's too high. I actually would have had Tony would have, for me, he was an honorable mention. I didn't say he's not on my list. But if I did, he would have been in the tier below this. Dude,
he was top 12 in MVP voting 6 times.
Yo, shout out to shout out.
That's crazy.
Out.
I understand. Listen, I've had times in the pod in the past few months where I've downplayed Tony Parker too. But like I said, I had a clear criteria. The 3 things. Tony Parker has the success and the accolades, obviously, with all the rings. We know he's part of that dynasty. Obviously, it all starts and stops with Tim Duncan. But just like Manu, Parker was a key role in that. An even more key role than Manu, you would say, right?
He was given the opportunity.
I think that's actually debatable. I actually think
opportunistically, they needed him more than what Manu.
Okay, what do you want? Whether you think it's true or not, they're at least tied. So I'm giving him the same boost there I gave to Manu. 6 All-Stars, 7 times on the MVP ballot, 2 second-team All-NBAs, 1 third-team All-NBA, or 3 second-team All-NBAs, 1 third-team All-NBA. That's a lot more individual accomplishments than you realize to go with the rings. Like, he was routinely valued as one of the top 15 players in the NBA. Which, again, we look at a lot of players, don't have that. And that's not a given to have the type of recognition. That's not as common as you would think. Clyde Drexler doesn't have that many. And that's what's below him. And obviously the rings. We go back and forth. I'm not going to give somebody a higher nod because they were a one option with less success just because being a one option is hard. I think it has to be a balance of all these things. And again, I get it. He's a second option. He's Jamal Murray on steroids, playing next to potentially the second greatest big of all time, depending on where you rank him.
Yeah.
He had an easier path than a lot of these guys. But they won with it. The path was there for them and they hit it. I can't ding them and pretend I don't see these crazy accomplishments.
Jamal Murray on steroids. That is
I
hilarious.
Simply do not see.
Out of all these group of players, Tony Park, I love him. And I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA point blank period. But he's easily like the worst player here when it comes to talent and what he actually like.
And you know what? He's also easily the most accomplished. So it balances. That's why he's next to them.
But
Lillard's better but less accomplished.
But he's not getting those accomplishments. You think Tony Parker's not getting on the MVP ballot because Tony Parker's out here dominating like that. They're out here winning 60 games a year. Tim Duncan is hooping, Manu is hooping, and then they're like, then we do the thing that we did with Devin Booker. And wait, how many top 5 finishes? Because if he's 10th on the ballot, if he's 10th on the MVP ballot, that doesn't.
He has a 5th, 6th, 8th, and 9th. 5th and 6th is legit. If we're talking about 3-year peak, 5th and 6th.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. You can have 5th and 6th. 8 and 9 do not move me. And even 5th and 6th is still pushing it. Even fifth and sixth is still
The
pushing.
way
We have to pay attention to what they did as individuals. He was second team All NBA in those years. That is not easy to do when you have Lillard, Steph, Westbrook, Harden. All these guys were in the league. This is like 2013. Being second team All NBA in a stacked guard year is not easy. He was a very good player in his own right.
Steph's ankles were
like I said,
broken.
that was Dame was a
Dame
like
is
2
just
We
coming
can do
into
this
the
to
league.
anybody you want.
I'm just saying.
James
like,
Harden barely grew it in his beard. Like that's
Chris
not,
Paul. What was Chris Paul doing at that time?
he was trying to
Hey,
find
listen, I
his way
can't
out.
speak
We
on
know
that.
he was up to.
he just got to LA. I can't speak on what he was doing.
he was on his way out.
Listen, I know it's high. Again, I know it's high with his skill set. I don't think he's next to Lillard in terms of how good they are. But I think when you're doing an all-time ranking, you have to balance both. Like, it'd be real easy for me to just say these new players are better and that I think they're better basketball players, but
It's not
why
even
would
about
we
that.
rank this if we're not going to do accolades?
It's not even
No.
about like just new players. He's not better than Clyde Drexler. Like that's the thing where I'm like,
But he accomplished a million times more. That's why he's
and
higher.
again,
Obviously, it's a
he
sliding
might-
scale.
And again, he might not even be the second best player on that team. Like I 100% would take Manu over Tony Parker. And so like that's the area where I'm like, I don't know if he can be at 24
Wow.
over some of these other guys. I think on a majority of teams, when you start to extrapolate, what people's skill sets are doing and how they're accomplishing what they've done, I'd be able to take Klay Thompson over Tony Parker. And I think that if you had Klay Thompson as a second option somewhere, you have a better foundation, obviously depending on who the personnel is, but Klay fits with so many other people. You have a better foundation to build a solid team rather than Tony Parker. Again, no disrespect. He belongs.
I don't disagree.
He can be on the list, but well, I mean, you had Klay lower, but like,
No, because you're describing one criteria of who you'd rather have on your team. And I agree, that's fair, but there's a balance to what they accomplish individually as a team and how good they are.
I
you're
think
giving
your
him the
scale
Brock
is
Purdy
so
treatment
off.
though.
Your
Like he's not
scale
getting that
is
because
really
he's
off.
that because he's like that. Like
If Brock Purdy had 4 fucking rings, he would be a top 30 quarterback of all time.
we're not gonna get started on that right now.
Fuck about no
I'm not
damn
gonna
Brock
lose
Purdy.
my cool. But Tony Parker is
Not that many quarterbacks have 4 rings.
again, we're not gonna start on that. But Tony Parker is not out here. Like I understand that he is critical, but
Yeah.
there is a point where like you're lining guys up, and yes, like the accolades mean stuff, and the stuff that
I don't have him at 12, right? Like I have him crazy high.
No,
he's
but-
in the back 5, back
no,
6.
but like. I'm gonna need you to be for real. Like Tony
It
Parker
just
is not better than
seeing
Clyde
his
Drexler. Like
name
it's just not
alongside
happening.
all these people.
It's
is
just
just
not
are
kinda
you ranking
nasty.
just on skill or not? Are we gonna?
I'm
You have
saying-
to give a baseline
I'm
respect
saying-
to accomplishments.
I'm
Otherwise,
saying
this
when
list
there's-
is not going to be consistent at
No,
all.
I'm saying when there's a massive talent gap between two players, I'm not going to put Tony Parker
I think your
ahead of
your
some
scale
of these
needs
guys.
to realign itself. Exactly. I think your scale needs to realign
I
itself.
don't think
that
so.
bitch is a little broken. Not gonna lie to you.
I'm
You're
gonna put Clyde Drexler higher. Clyde Drexler's fine. I think Clyde Drexler might have got lost in the shuffle of moving names around.
That's fine.
I don't feel passionate about Parker and
Yeah.
Drexler. Drexler can be a couple spots higher. Now I'm looking at Drexler should be higher, but the other
Nah,
names you
okay,
said, like, I'm-
yeah, we get it. We're all good now. I'm okay.
is Drexler the only one you care about?
I'm just seeing
Is
Tony
Drexler, if
Parker's
Drexler,
name.
you could have it. Fucking flip him. I don't give a shit
It's
about that.
kind of weird to have
Yeah.
Tony Parker like a spot under Dame, but I'm cool with it.
It's just weird seeing his name in this type of air. That's what it is.
That's
Like,
what I'm
And I
saying.
get it, but again,
Lillard?
you have to
Wilt?
give. If you don't give a
Well,
baseline,
Frazier, probably.
it's not even just rings. If you don't respect all NBA teams, MVP ballots, rings, all these accomplishments, you're not going to have a consistent list. It's going to be just like incredibly biased towards new players who you think are more talented and more numbers. Like you have to give respect to the accomplishments.
No, I get that, and I'm just saying that I guess that's the one where it's
There's
kinda,
nuances
it's-
to every
where
conversation.
it's-
I think
where
you're
it's
just
kind of-
missing the
where it's
nuances
kind of-
with Tony
It's
Parker.
kind of
when it comes
shocking
to
to
this.
see that one. If
Yeah.
Dame has had a career where when you put up his accomplishments from like year 1 to now, it's like, nothing, beard grown. I understand like that's his career path. And so there is a certain element of, hey, you just don't have really anything to show for it except literally
Yeah.
a Mickey Mouse MVP. That's literally the only thing that he has is a bubble MVP. And so I get it. I'm cool with that. I think that Dame is a better player, but Tony Parker is up there, and
I agree. That's why he's higher.
and he has accomplished stuff. So I get that. we're really arguing about 24 and 25 right here.
Yeah,
That's
I honestly, I don't think Parker's better than Drexler. That was lost in the shuffle. You can put Drexler 24, Parker 25. I'm not dying on that hill at all. That's not an argument I care to put energy into.
We got one.
I'm very happy with Parker at 24 to 26 range. I think that's very fair to like give him credit for what he did, despite you not feeling like he's as individually talented. Like results have to matter.
Yeah,
we got him.
I understand that. I just think it's sometimes when it comes to a point to where I notice that you're really not on that like damn near tier as some of these guys. I'm like, okay, that's where the nuance.
See that you're downplaying it too much. He was not a bum. Again, this is a second team All NBA guy that's routinely an all-star. Like we're pretending he's worse than he is. I know the crowning stats aren't there because he's playing in that system with Tim Duncan that they don't. He's not spamming ISOs and stuff. You know, it's not going to lead to high big numbers. But Tony Parker was very good, very well respected for that time. Go look at any list of top players in the league. He's always in the top 10 back then. Like. I underrated him for most of my basketball life until recently.
Listen,
I appreciate Tony Parker.
Yeah, I do too. And the fact that he's in this tier is fine. When we go for the rest of this ranking, right? Talent does matter. If you can't do a hezzy tween cross, I'm not putting you in my top 20.
I disagree with that.
Nah,
I disagree with that.
I'm with you. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
For me, the number is 18. 18 and above is the guys where you have to be like Hall of Fame, all-time level players. Mm-hmm. I don't feel that bad putting him in the tier with Lode and Drexler, who are very talented at doing absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Great individual players that accomplish jack shit. I don't feel bad about putting a very accomplished guy who's a little bit worse than that in the tier with them.
Beard grown.
And when we get to Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, all these guys, obviously I'm not putting Parker in the same conversation.
That's fair.
Okay.
All right, who's next?
That's funny.
Beard grown.
All right, at 21, I have Clyde Drexler. At 22, I have Klay Thompson. 23, I have Gary Payton. At 24, I have John Stockton. And at 25, I have Tracy McGrady.
Wow. Okay.
And honestly, that's not even looking at this right now. The hardest one for me, and the one that kind of just kept moving down, was Gary Payton. But I was gonna say there's a range for Gary Payton where I'm like, you really could be higher. And I think that looking at this right now, I would have Gary Payton over Clyde Drexler.
Yeah, that's the part. Like, I think 21 could be the floor for Payton. I have the next tier, obviously.
That's the one for me. But everything else, I do stand on.
I think Stockton and Payton have to be right by each other, and I think I have Stockton one spot higher. I think they have very similar measurables, and I like to disrespect Stockton as much as anybody. I disrespect him as much as anybody, but Stockton has a great career, obviously. Yeah, you can only regard what they did in their time, and for his time, his job was fucking easy compared to a lot of other guards, but they did it well.
It's okay. But we're doing these all-time rankings, and obviously all of these players are all-time players, and everybody's a Hall of Famer, everybody's all this, all that. So you're really splitting hairs at a certain point. And for me, my tiebreaker is always, hey, if we're starting a team, or if we're going into a playoff series tomorrow, if we close the door, take off all the noise, and I'm in there with the coaching staff, and I say, do you want this guy or do you want that guy? Who are they probably going to go with? And Stockton is just the guy that if you go through a lot of the guards throughout, and again, it's not just point guards, it's point guards and shooting guards, where, I think I kind of want these other guys over John Stockton. And it's not this, honestly, some of the rankings that we've had, right? Like when we did the centers and I had DeAndre Ayton at like 26, like, he probably could have been at 21 and I was trying to make a point, but whatever. But I genuinely do think like all of the players above John Stockton on this list, I would rather have them on my team than him.
Yeah. Wow. I get that. I'm with you. I have next to Payton as well, but the way you mentioned bumping Payton up a little bit for the reasons you have, I have the same reasons for Stockton. So all the reasons that you might give to put Payton above Drexler, I feel the same way about Stockton. I feel like they're so tied to each other.
Man, is it me? Two things.
You say, Bo?
One thing, really, is it me or do I feel like you guys are sleeping on Clyde Drexler, one of the only players in the MJ era who was able to look him in the eyes like that?
See, what you just said.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. I'm gonna hate.
Don't do that.
Clyde Drexler gets all the narrative credit in the world for looking like Michael Jordan and playing sort of similar and being the best guard behind Michael Jordan. that is straight narrative blowing smoke up his ass. I don't think there's any reason to put him high above guys like a Lillard or whatever. He was not hyper efficient. Didn't have a jump shot, obviously. I don't have a good grasp how good he was defensively, so maybe he was locked down. I don't quite know that part about his game. Didn't accomplish anything as a one option. Now he did scale down next to Hakeem and win, which that is a thing that matters. But the only thing holding him up in your head, I think, is the narrative that he's the best shooting guard behind Jordan of his era. Just because people say that.
And even that was something to where before they meet up in the finals, everyone's like, okay, yeah, we're doing that. And then they get to the finals and they play off.
Yeah.
They play against each other. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, like one of these is
Levels.
Exactly.
Levels.
One of these is a Phantom. The other one is a Chrysler 300. That's kind of what we're dealing with. And so for Clyde, like, yes, he does have some like really good scoring years, but nah, man, like it really is. There's a lot of people in the 90s that get credit. And listen, maybe even Reggie is one of those guys from earlier where you get a boost and you get graded on a curve because you are in this era with Jordan, who's ended up, with all the rings. And it's like, well, what are you going to do? Right? Like you were there. Nobody else was really going to win. So by all means, do what you got to do. But he really shouldn't be ahead of some of these other guys. And he has a lot of the stuff, right? He meets a lot of the criteria in terms of, being a one option. He's scored like 27 in a season. He's been a high volume scorer. He's led a team to the finals. He has all of that. That's also one of the points where you look at their games and you watch it and you're like, nah, he's just not as talented as some of the other guys.
Yeah. I think he needs to be right next to Lillard. Like I said, I'd flip Drexler and Parker. That was a mistake on my end. Lillard 23, Drexler 24 is like, to me, they're the same guy. And obviously Drexler, maybe you could put Drexler higher because Drexler did make a finals. And that matters. Making a finals is an accomplishment. Like it's not as much as winning, obviously, but that does matter. And Lillard doesn't have that. So if you want to give resume, like Lillard never had a top 3 MVP finish. Drexler had one and another one around the 5th. So
yeah,
you could put him right above Lillard.
You could swap them.
Yeah. But they got to be right near each other, I think.
Man, I realized I think I committed basketball sin because
What'd you do?
Wholeheartedly, I think Lillard is the best like Blazer of all time. It's close, but I think I would give the notch to Lillard because of the little that he had to, so little that he had around his career and how much he's been able to accomplish. Hey, making it to the Western Conference Finals, not the finals, but he got close enough with guys like Al Farouk Amino on his team and Robin Lopez and boys like that or whatever. But nonetheless, all the smoke that I have really is for someone like John Stockton. Surprise, surprise. Did not make my list, and I do not feel bad about it.
See, that's
slightest.
You're a crayoneer through and through, and I respect it. You've always hated John Stockton, so you're like, off the list, fuck him, and I respect it.
He was my
Just
31.
say fuck him, it's fine.
I literally only had one honorable mention. I didn't care to mention anyone else
who's
after
Mo's
that
next
whatsoever.
Let's see Mo's
into
5.
it. We can roll into it.
Frazier,
Okay, so 21, Frazier. 22, Kyrie Irving. 23, Reggie Miller. 24, Ray Allen. And 25, Dumars.
Okay.
It's not a bad tier.
No.
I think I would.
That's cool.
I might have Joe Dumars higher. I mean,
you'd have him highest out of all of us. Okay.
Yeah.
Higher tier? Wow.
This man, Donovan fucking loves the bad boy Pistons. I know he's going to. Donovan loves
They're
the
elite.
Pistons.
They are elite. People don't. Oh my. Well, I'll save it, but yes.
I love Joe Dumars too. That Finals MVP meant everything to me, but I also see through that Finals MVP, and I'm just like, come on, man.
Yeah. I'm realizing now that the back 15, or actually back 10, in terms of your gauging accomplishments and skill, I moved more towards accomplishments because these guys weren't the elite of the elite. Mm-hmm. So I went more resume there. But then the next one, the top 20 is a lot more, they're all accomplished, so skill matters more. So that's a difference in our list. So I'm seeing a lot of guys higher here that are more skilled, like Kyrie, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen. That's fine. I just opted to, if you're not like one of the best of all time, accomplishments mattered a lot to me.
Yeah, I'm just going for like, who are you like straight up a better player? And so far in this list, I feel pretty confident in what I've been saying. I believe.
Yeah, and if that's how you don't want to do it, fine.
Yeah.
I honestly don't have a problem with that. I think it's a different list if you do just who's best at their peak. I want to do a balance of both, but if you're doing just fair at the peak and that's your criteria, that's completely fine. It's just like, again, this is the part where we always talk about different criterias.
Nuances.
This is the one where it's we're literally making different
I
lists.
tried my best to add accolades into that and really like acknowledge that as well.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Mo, like, hit the way that he's structuring his list is cool, because when you get to like this bottom half, you look around and it's like, hey man, we're all losers. Like, you all lost, right? Nobody won rings on rings on rings and was doing all this, because obviously if you were, you would be top 10, top 15. So at this point, who is the better player? I think,
and that's fair.
I think towards the back half, I think that makes a lot of sense.
I should put Kyrie lower for sure.
That's cool. I get the logic of both. When it comes down to not the best, you can either decide you want to go towards talent or towards accomplishments. Either one's fine. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. The only
I don't have a ton to say about this tier.
I would move Kyrie down. I would probably swap him with, I don't want to say Joe Dumars or whatever, but Kyrie needs to be like 25, probably 26 instead of being on this tier, because Frazier, menace. Reggie Miller has insane longevity. Never was able to get it done, but the consistency that he showed at that, with the responsibilities placed on his shoulders, gotta respect it. Ray Allen, longevity, of course, and he got it done in multiple. Well, I don't want to say versions of his career, but he's been consistent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think Joe Dumars being above Kyrie makes sense, just because we know that Kyrie can't be the best player on a team.
Yeah.
If we had never seen it, there could have been a lot of people being like, listen, if you gave Kyrie a team, he could have been averaging 30. Mm-hmm. But we've seen him have the chance, and it just doesn't go well. We know he's limited to being a secondary guy, just like Joe Dumars, and one was just a lot more accomplished in that role.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts.
Shout out to Walt Frazier. We lockstep. Okay, Donovan, I see you got him a lot higher.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, so this bottom 10, this is the longest we've ever spent in the bottom 10. We're 48 minutes into this bitch.
Goddamn.
The next 20 are going to be a lot more lockstep, I think, because now we're getting to like the legends.
We'll see.
This should be less debatable, I think.
We'll see. Let's start the next tier. Who's out?
All right. Donovan.
All right. At 16, I have Allen Iverson. 17, I have Walt Frazier. 18, I have Dame. 19, I have Pistol Pete. And at 20, I have Joe Dumars.
I ain't have
I just
Pistol
love
Pete on
that
my
this
list.
is the list.
Pretty
but
solid.
goddamn.
Okay, well, there's a polar bear in Arlington, Texas. There's a big polar bear. There is the one dragon with the goofy face. I just love that.
Pistol Pete.
Every list we
so
do,
much.
you're a fucking hater, and I'm the positive one trying to like dispel it. And this list, I've just become the hater of all these old motherfuckers. Pete Maravich is so fucking overrated by NBA 2K and highlights. Pete Maravich is the single most overrated player in NBA history, and it's not close.
Wow, you officially made the statement. Here we are.
The single most. Pete Maravich had one elite year in his entire career. He was third in MVP voting, first team All-NBA. That's his best year. His team had 35 wins. He averaged 31 points per game, which was obviously a lot, in 41 minutes. The league average true shooting percentage that year was the league average true shooting was 51%. His true shooting percentage was 48%. He was less efficient than the average of the league. A fucking chucker who played every minute of the game. Got high in the MVP ballot because he was flashy as shit. Looks crazy for that era. Nobody had ever seen someone dribble like that. Didn't lead to winning at all, ever. Didn't lead to efficiency at all, ever. Didn't make people better at all, ever. Straight flash. This is Austin Rivers' place in the 70s.
Yeah, homie had them hate notes off, locked and ready. Oh my God. You prepared for this.
Very fun player. The highlights are awesome. When you pull his cards in 2K My Team, he's a fucking beast. He's so cool. He can shoot. He can dribble. Awesome for that era. Never meant a damn thing ever.
You know what I think it is? You met Pistol Pete one day when you were like 5 years old or something. And you said, Pistol, please sign my jersey. He's looked at you. It was like, get out of my face, kid. That's
Honestly, I put Pistol Pete in honorable mentions just because I feel like I had to because people like him so much. If you told me there was 36 guards better than him, I would not be upset. If you told me you'd rather have Donovan Mitchell on a all-time ranking than Pistol Pete,
dude,
not upset.
You don't have to go. You can say Trae Young. Me personally, like if I put
Shut
Pistol
up.
Pete on this,
Shut up. You're making me hate Trae Young.
Golly, man.
Look
Be
at
quiet,
the stats. What are
please.
you talking about? What has Pistol Pete done in his career that Trae Young hasn't done already?
Come on.
Be
man.
born in the 70s?
Come on, man.
That's what he's done.
That's
Made
the only
6
thing.
All-Star teams in the 70s, and now he's a Hall of Famer. Now, I'm sure... I think I'm right for all-time rankings, but to be fair, there is value in being like revolutionary for your time, advancing dribbling techniques, advancing style of play. All that's cool. You're influential. That matters to the story of the NBA. And if you want to reward him in a Hall of Fame spot for that, and I think he was a good college player, if I remember correctly. I get it. Doesn't mean he's a top 20 guard of all time.
I like it. He had a nice bag. And he had a top 5 nickname in NBA history.
The
too.
crayon eater
Top
special.
10,
Oh yeah,
top
and
10, top
the
10.
nickname. He had a cool nickname and really fancy hair for the time. He looked like he was in the Beatles. Straight aura pick.
Once again, first off, you pulled off true shooting for like the 70s, which is just hilarious. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just funny.
League average is 51% of the time. 48%.
You know how easy it is? You know how easy it is to be an all-time player and be more efficient than everybody else in the 70s? You know how fucking easy it is when everybody's out here throwing up bricks? You
Gas
can't
was-
be league average?
Bro, gas was
If you can't be fucking
67
average,
gas was 67 cents a gallon. You're over here talking about true shooting. They did not know what they were doing.
Bro.
It's a different world.
that's the point. Neither did he. You look at Jerry West. Jerry West is a million times more efficient than everybody because he's playing with a bunch of people that don't know the fundamentals of basketball
That's
yet.
why he's
P.
higher.
Maravich blends in with the regulars.
Listen, there is like, you know a lot about basketball, but the one area that you seem to always forget is that the game is about a bucket. Okay. And Pistol Pete gets buckets. He does it. That is your blind spot.
35% of the time.
Listen, 35% of the time, it works all the time. Okay. So Pistol Pete is out here doing stuff. And
He watched 5 minutes of Pistol Pete highlights. He said, "Oh no, he liked that. He got to be at number 19."
Doing stuff. You saw the highlight of him fake passing on his back and hitting the fucking layup.
He wanted
Oh my
them
God,
ones.
these boys are different.
literally making clinic
Lillard,
videos.
Dumars, Frazier, Iverson.
videos.
Wow.
Like, it's such a polar bear in Arlington,
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah, for sure. You know how we felt about Tony Parker being a part of that tier? Like, this is even worse. Maybe a little bit even worse, actually.
My guy has 4 rings and all these All-NBA teams. Pete Maravich has a nickname.
But that nickname carries. And plus, them old school jerseys that he used to wear too. God damn. Maybe I messed up putting him on this
man.
list.
But yeah, so
5 All-Star teams.
that's the rest of my list though. That's 16 through 20.
Okay. I like the rest of it. I like the rest of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, besides the polar bear, I like Lillard being high. I mean, I have him lower, but talent-wise, I'm cool with it. I understand you're going to respect Walt Frazier, Knicks legend. Shout out. I don't have a problem with any of these.
Cool beans with me. We can roll on to the next.
Small next.
All right, Mo,
Cool.
here we go.
Ah, man, I hate it so much. I hate it. 16, Russell Westbrook. 17, Bob Cousy. Steve Nash, 18. Gary Payton, 19. And I got Kid at 20.
I don't care about none of that.
Forgot,
Bob Cousy.
bro. I forgot Bob Cousy existed. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even think about him on my list.
Stop it. There's
Why'd you... What?
No. Good for you. If you want to respect what everybody did in their era and be truly objective, go for it. That man is accomplished.
That's cool.
I
Bob
see what
Cousy
he's
is the
doing.
ultimate salute player. I'm not putting you on the top 30 list, Bob. Like, that's not
What?
happening. You
You
cannot
can put
make
Manu
No.
Ginobili on that list, but you can't put Bob Cousy?
Bob Cousy.
If you put Bob Cousy but you refuse to put Stockton, you're hilarious.
Oh
you
no!
just hate John Stockton.
Oh no! I'm not.
Dude, Bob Cousy would have slurred Manu Ginobili after getting hit with the Euro step. I'm not doing this. I'm not putting him on the list. He wouldn't be ready for it. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine Bob Cousy in 2004 after the US lost in the Olympics? He was going crazy. I'm not doing this. I'm not putting him top 30.
Look, I respect him for what he did. Respect him for his time. Saw the accolades. Cool. He has to be there. That's where the conversation
He
ends. with
really
Bob
doesn't
Cousy.
have to be there.
No, I get it. I mean, sure. I'm joking, but you can only respect what people did in their era. That's totally fine if you want to go back that far.
Yes.
I tend to feel that way until we hit 1969. Before then, I'm like, my eyes are simply off.
Yeah,
I can respect
like-
the 70s. The 60s is when I'm like, man,
I
they're
understand.
not
It.
Jerry West or Bill Russell. I don't know.
I understand it. You know, like the league and its expansion and all that other stuff, and how many teams. Like, it's different conversations for sure. But it's just one of the
There it
things where
is.
it's just like.
You know what it is? I put a lot of time into learning the history of the NBA, watching old players, understanding different eras. 60s is where I stopped trying. 60s is where I'm like, I don't know a fucking thing about the 60s, man.
All I'm thinking about in my head right now is if you rolled out of basketball and you have Bob Cousy on one side
Westbrook.
and Gary Payton on the other hand,
Look.
it would be a murder. Like it would be the worst. It would be the most violent thing you've ever seen in your life.
I can't fucking explain how much more athletic Gary Payton is than Bob Cousy.
This is not supposed to be a Bob Cousy slander session right now, y'all. Y'all don't respect your elders.
I don't have a problem with the pick. That's fine. I'm cool with it.
I had to place him somewhere on this list, and he's an all-time.
Who's the worst
Great.
person who would like cross up Bob Cousy?
Tyler Eulis.
Austin Reeves would put him in a fucking blender.
Oh my god!
I'd say Tyler Eulis. Alfred
Gabe
Payton
Vincent
do it
would
to
have him in Alcatraz.
Can Pablo Prigioni cross up Bob Cousy?
Nah,
Put him in the fucking post.
No, we're going too far with that one. We're going too far with that.
I'm just asking.
We're going way too
No.
far.
No,
Tim
but the rest of
Frazier?
this tier is when it gets interesting. These names: Westbrook, Nash, Peyton, Kidd. Now we're getting spicy because this is hard.
Yeah. Okay.
Nash
so
and Kidd is where I struggled.
I hated ranking Kidd because I feel like if he was an NBA player today, he probably wouldn't be as popular because he does a lot of the great like niche things that helps elevate teams. So people see him for what he is. Isn't like was never a high volume 3-point shooter. Developed that shot that was okay throughout the back half of his career. But when it comes to just like knowing when to make the right play at the right time while also seemingly like not having to just he has so much control in the game while also not having the ball in his hands at the entire time.
Yes.
That's such a rare skill, you know? And I want to put him higher so bad. I might put him higher than Nash, to be honest, now that I think about it. Because
Yeah, I ended up going one spot above him.
Yeah.
Difference there to me is longevity. Like I said, accolades, longevity, prime. You could say Nash is slightly better prime. You know, he has 2 MVPs. That's that few weird window. He was insane.
Yeah.
Kid, prime, you could say is close up there, but he obviously doesn't have that accomplishment. Has the ring, however you value that in 2011. That's a weird ring to gauge because he was important, but he wasn't a star. But he has like twice the prime years of Nash. Nash has the weirdest career. He didn't become an all-time great until he was 28. And then by the time he was 35, his back was cooked. So he has like an 8-year window where he's fucking insane. He's Trae Young on obviously elevated to the highest degree. Just incredibly efficient, incredibly great passer. But before and after that, it's not quite to that level. So maybe that could be the deciding factor.
the 2 MVPs carry, man. The 2 MVPs carry, for sure. That's why I put him higher.
And that's hard. Winning a back-to-back MVP is tough. That's not easy to do at all.
The stolen
exactly.
MVPs. That's tough.
In terms of skill, like being one of the most efficient scorers of all time and being one of the best passers, complementary passers too. Like certain people hunt assists. Westbrook is incredible at getting assists. Nash is incredible at getting people open. Like it's different, you know?
Yeah.
Nash is lucky. He's lucky he has the
Oh
2
my
MVPs.
gosh.
No, I mean, listen, that was one of the hardest debates for me was Nash and Kidd.
Mm-hmm.
I put Nash up there because I put Nash above Kidd because he had 2 MVPs. That ended up being like the differentiating factor because it was just too close to call. But it was close because Jason Kidd is a better player. Like I'd rather have Jason Kidd. Like his playmaking is still elite.
The defense,
right? Exactly, and that's the thing. Jason Kidd was out here being
I didn't even talk about that.
a legitimate, like defender, and that's just something that Steve Nash could never do. And so being able to get both aspects, or at least the best aspect of Steve Nash in playmaking, and you still have that at an elite level with Jason Kidd. Neither of them were crazy scorers. Nash probably should have scored more. He should have been more aggressive for his own shot.
Yeah.
And that's to his detriment. But because you don't have that, now you allow Jason Kidd and his scoring to be right there with you. And then you have the defense that just gets there.
volume wise,
I'd rather have Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd is pretty inefficient though for this caliber of player. He's routinely average or below average efficiency wise. And I know Nash should have shot more. That man picked his fucking spots and he made that shit a lot. Like being a lower volume scorer is okay if you're incredibly efficient and you just don't miss. Like that's fine. And if neither one are super high volume, I think Nash is comfortably the better offensive player because of the shooting makes a huge difference. Like
Definitely.
if Kidd had an above average 3-point shot, he would be a way better offensive player. He would be amazing. But the defense is probably just as big as the offense there. That's tough.
I'm looking at the page right now. 9-time all defensive team.
That's a lot. That's a lot of all defense teams.
9 times.
9
is
times.
crazy, dude.
2-time
Okay.
sportsmanship award as well. He's a
Oh,
good,
shit.
good guy. Listen, I don't think Steve
Wow,
has
you
that.
really hate Steve Nash, bro.
I don't think he has
MVPs
that.
and you're pulling
I'm
out
just reading off what's on
sportsmanship
Basketball
arguments?
Reference. I'm just reading the history. That's all I'm doing.
Like Donovan's right. Like I said, you got to respect the accolades. It's a baseline.
I mean, come
Those
on.
are the type of guys you are. Wow. Wow.
Okay, we can move on to my next 5, my 16 through 20. At 16, I have Allen Iverson. At 17, John Stockton. 18, Gary Payton. 19, Sidney Moncrief. 20, Tracy McGrady. You know what's funny? 19 is Moncrief. 20 is Tracy McGrady. These could not be more different players if I could possibly imagine different players. Like they are they are at this rank for the total opposite reasons.
100%. I don't even listen. Give your Sidney Moncrief spiel because I do want to hear it. I want to know why Tracy McGrady is at 20.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So look back at my list and name me a name. Why I have to go name by name because he's a very complicated player in terms of
T-Mac?
didn't accomplish jack shit. Yeah, didn't accomplish jack shit, but incredibly talented and incredibly accomplished as an individual, recognized among the league. So name me a player that you want to know why I have him higher than, because it's kind of a case-to-case basis with him.
I completely forgot who was at your 21. But
Okay, I'll tell you.
Thank you.
21, I have Walt Frazier. Okay, obviously I just think Chase McGrady, he's obviously more talented, but Walt's more accomplished. That's not that
22.
interesting. Ray Allen, 23, Damian Lillard, which, again, it's not hard to understand why McGrady's better than them. 24, 20 Parker, 24 Drexler. Okay, you like Drexler a lot. I guess is that the pinpoint?
But I guess
Because you can see why McGrady's more talented than these guys.
No, but for Ray, right? We'll go for Ray.
Mm-hmm.
For somebody who has more longevity, for somebody who has rings, for somebody who has all-stars and stuff like that. Why is Ray Allen below Tracy McGrady?
So obviously McGrady has carried, like I said, the 3 things: accolades, peak, longevity. This is the most hard carry by one of those things. And it's the peak, right? His team wasn't that good, so he didn't have the accolades to go with it. But in his fucking peak, he was utterly ridiculous. I think the Paul George comps are funny, and I understand that like he's the most talented player, didn't do a damn thing. He's so talented. He's so good that you guys keep mentioning at a certain point you're going towards a more talented player. I can do the accolade thing all I want and do that. Sometimes the talent wins out, and in some of these ones, like I look at him versus Ray Allen.
Wow.
Look at
That's
6th in MVP
corner.
vote, 4-year peak, 6th in MVP, 4th in MVP, 4th in MVP, 2 second-team All-NBAs, 2 first-team All-NBAs. As individually accomplished you could hope for. Literally, it just comes down to he didn't fucking win anything, and
to never be out the first round is kind of crazy.
That is
I know
crazy.
that's crazy.
That's wild.
And
That's wild.
and he has 0 longevity, but like. He's as talented as the top 15 guys. He just can't be there because he didn't accomplish a fucking thing. And it's insane. Like, I'm probably putting him closer to his ceiling than his floor in his range of whatever outcome is, just because I think the guys immediately below him are also not insanely accomplished. Like, for the reasons you downplayed Ray Allen's ring when I said it matters, you were like, listen, he's on the stacked ass Celtics. It matters to a certain extent. Didn't matter enough to make up for the fact that I think at their peak, Tracy McGrady is way better.
Mo, you know
And
what this
individual
is, right?
accomplishments. Individual accomplishments, they have the
What
same
is it?
thing. Like in terms of MVPs and all NBAs, those type of accolades, McGrady has just as many. It's just longevity that kicks his ass and playoff success, which it's pretty terrible. I get it. Don't put him lower. I'm not mad at you.
You let it rip.
Mo, you know what this is, right?
Let it rip.
This is recognizing that a bucket is a bucket. Like that's what this is about. That's what this is about. This is looking at somebody who had never got out of the first round, but gets an insane amount of buckets, and you're just like, hey, I'm sorry, he just has to be there. He just has to be there. So I'm telling
That
you,
gotta be a new merch line. A bucket is a bucket.
At a certain point, that's what this comes down to, y'all. I'm telling you. You can do
I never
everything
disagreed.
You can do anything.
I never
you want.
said it means nothing. It's case to case basis. And when I compare him to like a Lillard, who's like right below him, or like a Ray Allen, who none of these guys did fucking squat as a first option. One of them was on a super team. Great. One of them got hurt really early, so it didn't have the longevity. Sucks for McGrady, but like the difference here in the peak was much greater than the difference in accolades.
You can have rings, you can have all-star appearances, you can have all NBA appearances, you can have all of that, right? You can make conference finals. I need to see you get 30 when it matters, right? I need to be able to say, hey, here's the ball on a high post, 2 dribbles. What are you gonna do? Right? What are you going to do? I have 10 guys right here Fry them all. That's what I need to see. Right? If you want to be an all-time great, fry anybody I put in front of you. That's what this game is about. And I appreciate you putting T-Mac right here. Because that's an understanding.
That's not why. His saving grace is that his saving grace of why he can be up here and why somebody else who's just about a bucket can't be is 7 All-NBAs. I think All-NBAs are slept on. Mm-hmm. I don't think All-Star games are that indicative of shit, really. There's so much politics about All-Star games, especially with some years had fan votes, some years didn't.
Especially in the middle of the season.
Exactly. All-NBAs, you got to be one of the 15 best players for the entirety of a season. And those voters aren't typically dumb. That typically was weighed between skill, team success, all that. Like, I think All-NBAs is a far better,
it's a better
representation of how good you are. Mm-hmm. He has 7 of them in 7 All-Star years. Every year he was a top 15 guy. And obviously the team success was never there. There's a myriad of reasons why. Contextually, some of them were his fault, falling apart in big moments. Some of them is Yao Ming's legs can't stay together. Some of them is coached by Doc Rivers. Like, it's partially his fault, partially not. Individual accolades matter to me a lot in terms of All-NBA teams, MVP votes, and he has enough to hold him up there with the skill.
I can understand that, but getting past the first round, just like another
that is
massive
that is
gaping hole.
I agree, but if he did have a conference final run, he would be above. He'd be in the 15 range, like he'd be much higher. I'm baking that in.
I ain't lying. He would definitely be 15 around that range for sure.
Because we say he didn't have the run, and obviously injuries cut him short. 7 All-NBA years is a good amount of run. Like, that's still a good long peak. A lot of guys don't have that, even if they stay healthy. So he got robbed of potentially having an elongated, really good prime. He got enough years in that I can say he's not David Thompson. He wasn't a 4-year then nothing guy. Like 7 years is a long time.
You can never catch him hating on T-Mac, even though I had him at 29 or 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
And Sidney Moncrief is the opposite. Sidney Moncrief is a two-way fucking force. Sidney Moncrief has 2 DPOYs and 2 second-place finishes in a 4-year span. What the fuck? He's Drew Holiday. What the fuck? What if Drew Holiday averaged, for era adjusted, what if Drew Holiday averaged basically 24 points per game today with the efficiency of Nikola Jokic? Sidney Moncrief had like a 62% true shooting back in that day. League average is like 55. 7% higher than league average is like what Jokic does now. On 20 points per game, that efficient, just a downhill force, didn't have the jump shot, wasn't a great passer, so that's why he's not like one of the best players of all time. But just downhill demon and the best point guard defender you're going to find in the league for his era. He is Eric Bledsoe to the 9,000th degree.
Yes, this is a pickup hooper, like just monster where you're not.
He pulls his shorts up.
Exactly. Like you're just out there on the park playing for 8 hours, just elite 2-way. Right, like that's what he is, and it makes sense though. And
he had 3 conference finals runs, 3.
Two
being the best
2
player.
DPOYs is the differentiating factor. That moves.
As a guard,
like that moves a lot.
And I'm cool with that. The efficiency is insane for having no jump shot at all, really, and being that otherworldly efficient. For that era, if you can't shoot and you're just going down rim, those guys are just standing there, and it just doesn't matter. And he's not big either. He's 6'4", and he's like kind of a frail frame. Like, he's not a large guy, and he's just flying through the air, getting to the rim every single time down the court. That's a perfect formula for the age he played in. There's a reason he was in 3 conference finals.
I like that. Lock down in the
opposite
bucket.
Of T-Mac, man.
Lock down in the
quality
bucket.
player. Yeah, quality.
Exactly, player. Bro. He stops buckets and he gets buckets. 1-on-1, he's better than you.
I'm sorry. There's not a lot of better arguments.
Hey, no, right above him, Gary Payton.
Exactly. Just an evolved version of him.
Gary Payton is Moncrief, but if Moncrief made a finals, so I had to give him the ledge because he made a finals.
Okay.
Not a make complete.
Same like guy.
That. I like
a little bit less of a scorer, a little bit more of a defender.
I like that.
How do you guys feel about Stockton and Iverson?
Stockton is so weird to me, man.
I understand why Stockton is this high, but it's also disrespectful because he shouldn't be this close to Allen Iverson.
You know how I feel.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, no, I know you're a hater, but it's okay.
I have the same spot as you, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
No, but you're doing that out of just like, all right, here, take it. Like you didn't want to put him at 16.
After all I've said about Pete Maravich, Clyde Drexler, and Reggie Miller, you think I'm not willing to hate on some old people today? You think I won't hate on an inefficient guard? I would. He's there because he deserves it.
Don't act like we haven't had conversations about Iverson before. I know how you feel.
And we net out to me being 16 still. You just, never mind. But no. I mean, listen. I am no fan of John Stockton, but I made an effort this time to reward accomplishments, and I have to give it to him. Obviously, his resume is ridiculous. I have to salute out of obligation of consistency.
Good job.
I don't like it anymore
Great
than
job. You know how to throw an entry pass like 25,000
Hey,
times.
listen. No, wait. Don't knock the entry pass. People can't
Was
really
a
do
good
that these
shooter,
days.
too.
People can't do that these days. But yes, the entry pass is key.
No, and he is. We make fun of him because his assists were so inflated by
System.
Nasty Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's true. He could score. He wasn't a slouch there.
He was a
wasn't
great shooter.
scorer.
He was a great shooter, super efficient, and he knew how to pick his spots.
Yeah, later in his career, he got really efficient as a 3-point shooter, and he could get to the rim. He was one of those guys that was like sneakily quick, and he got to the rim. He's able to get into the paint really
Sneaky
easily
quick,
and really
the
generate
white.
offense. Yeah, because he wasn't super athletic.
Sneaky
But
athletic.
honestly, he's more athletic than people think. He is more athletic than people
He
think.
drills smart, right?
And-
Just plays the game the right way. He's good on the whiteboard. Culture guy.
The hardest part is he has 5 all defensive teams, which is very impressive. But I think his all defensive teams are like Kobe's, where they're strictly reputation based because he got a lot of steals. I don't really believe that John Stockton was his lockdown defender 5 times, but it means something.
Dude, Steph Curry gets a lot of steals too. Like that doesn't mean.
Well, not like Stockton. Stockton gets a lot of steals.
He's all time. I know. I understand he's up there,
Yeah.
like all time leaderboard and stuff like that too. But it's just like when I see
Not
the
up there.
defensive
He's one.
teams. Yeah, I understand. But
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I have him lower than his accomplishments suggest too. No, 17 is. You guys disrespected the shit out of him, and I get it. I think I still have him on the low end for what he's accomplished because I just don't think he's as good as the guys above him.
You got it.
as long as
You
Iverson
got it.
above
Like
him. Okay.
he's just not as talented, and I just don't want him on my team. But
Yeah, but he's not. Okay, I don't want him on my team for personal reasons. So I'm with you.
Why,
But he
does he
is
smell?
talented. Oh, we don't got to get into what's wrong with modern day John Stockton. This is a different type of podcast.
That's hilarious.
Let's just say, never mind. Let's keep going. No words you said there.
roll it.
They're
I'll give
messing
it
with
enough
the
smoke to
frogs.
John Isaac. They make the frogs gay.
Oh man, dude, Goran Dragic retired from basketball the other day. I would have him on my team over John Stockton easily. The
You
Dragon.
fucking crowd eater, man. You
Easily,
crowd eater through and
bro.
through.
Did you witness Suns Goran Dragic?
Man, tell us you're 11 through 15.
Different, bro.
It better not have Goran Dragic.
Different. All right. So at 11, I have Luka Doncic. 12, George Gervin. 13, Allen Iverson. 14, Clyde Drexler. Redact. I would move him down for sure. And 15, I have Lillard.
I respect you being convinced to move Drexler down. I love the admission. But okay.
It was so weird for
Lillard-
me to put Luka Doncic this high, but then I
I
sat
know.
down and internalized like how like that he's been since the second year of his career, putting up like 28, 9, and 8 or whatever it's been like on a consistent basis, being first team all NBA since we were like 20, 21 years old or whatever. That's crazy work.
I keep talking about how all NBA teams are slept on in terms of accomplishments and how a lot of guys don't have as many as you think. Steph only has a few first team all NBAs. He has a lot of second teams. Luka has had 5 years of superstardom, 5 years of first team all NBA, 6 years in the league, 5 first team all NBAs. Only times we've seen a start to a career that great is like Jordan, LeBron, Kareem. Like that is insanely rare.
Yeah. He has a combination of like obviously being one of the best point blank period like dudes on the court, but also like remaining healthy consistently as well while being given that opportunity and the runway to do what he's done. So
I'm not mad at putting him 11 because he made a finals.
yeah.
When you have that start to a career, you make a conference finals, and then you make a finals. Literally, it's just longevity. If his career ended and he had this resume of a finals, 5 first team All NBAs, and one of the best statistical peaks you've ever seen,
that's Sidney
averaging
Moncrief.
damn near a triple double. If Sidney
better.
Moncrief was a bucket,
Exactly.
more of a
Exactly.
bucket, like-
So the opposite end, yeah.
and the best passer in the league. If Sidney Moncrief was the best passer in the league, it'd be ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, I get
again, the only thing holding him back from being top 7 is longevity. So I'm cool with that.
Absolutely. Any other Greece?
I respect the George Gervin love. I'm glad he was respected on this list. I had a fear that I would put him much higher than you guys, and I'd have to fucking talk about how people don't know George Gervin.
Nah, hyper efficient, dude. He was that dude for his time.
Dude, me and Donovan completely switched roles today. This is crazy.
Really?
I'm just hating talking about George Gervin was a bucket. This is the most I've ever hated on an episode.
Feels good, doesn't it? It's therapeutic sometimes.
Oh, headphone fell out.
What?
I think it feels strange. I feel uncomfortable. I said my headphone fell out.
I thought you were patting yourself down like you got a fly on you or something. I was like, what's
No,
going on?
my AirPod fell in my ear. Okay, let's move on to the next tier. Let's see who else we got. Also, Lillard is crazy high, but I'm not going to slander him, so you can have it.
Lillard got to be that high.
He doesn't have to be that high. What?
He
For
doesn't
sure.
have to
I got-
be, but
Interesting. Okay, so I'm assuming
on
that
my
both
list,
of you guys.
I have Jason
Go ahead.
Kidd 11, Steve Nash 12, George Gervin 13, Luka Doncic 14, Russell Westbrook 15. Now, Donovan, you mentioned that I don't particularly like Allen Iverson compared to other people, and you probably said I had to throw it to him to put him at 16. I didn't feel the way. I like Allen Iverson more than you think. I had to give Russell Westbrook 15 out of fucking obligation.
Hater.
I just had to do it.
Why are we? This is
Why?
This is what I hate. This is really what I hate. And now, mind you, for full transparency, I have Russell Westbrook at the same exact spot. But the
shut your fucking mouth.
no. But the tone in which you're speaking about Russell is really upsetting. And there is something about like, right?
It was on purpose. It was on purpose.
Yeah, but the way that we get here, because like obviously Russell Westbrook really like post Houston has just been like stats merchant to the absolute extreme, right?
Yeah.
But listen, dragged the team in Washington to the playoffs. Shout out to him. It was actually impressive to see that. The Lakers stint, probably one of the 5 worst stints by a known basketball player that we've ever seen.
Probably the worst. Not gonna lie.
It's
If there's a consequence, it's probably the
really
worst.
bad. It's been really bad. But I don't like the way that we talk about Russ throughout his like OKC days and even in like that quick Houston time, because everyone's like, oh, like, you know, they didn't win because of Russ, and his play style was so you know, like non-winning basketball. Towards the end of that run and really like 2016, you started to see Russell Westbrook put everything together, and it wasn't as erratic as it was earlier. And
Nice. 20-year-old puts it together. We love it.
Had KD not left, you could have seen more evolution from that team, and you could have seen them there. But also, like even in 2016, you can go ahead and blame it on Russ and be like, oh yeah, he was never a winning player. KD also was out here choking in the last 3 games, going 10 of 31. Like I just don't like the narrative that all of it in 2015 and 2016 was all on Russ because he's the one not doing it. Like
true.
I feel like, at least from what I have seen from a lot of people, whenever we're starting to talk about like the later OKC years, it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, Russ wasn't a winning player when he is all NBA. He is one of, you know, the two. It's Curry and him as the 2 point guards in the league. CP3, whatever. But like,
yeah, either way, top 3 is impressive.
Yeah.
I know your point. I opened this with disrespect just to fuck with you, just to trigger you. I put him at 15 for a reason. End of the day, I'm with you. I think from what you just said about his OKC years, I agree and disagree. 2015 through 2017 were his best years. 2015 was better than 2017. 2017 he had all the leeway in the world and obviously the storyline to get the MVP. 2015 and 16 were his best years, I think. The athleticism was still really there, and the playmaking was as good as ever been. He was really together. Defensively, he was still pretty good. That fell off later. 2018 and 2019, those last 2 OKC years, were awful. Those, I think, were worse than people remember. We forget just how sad he went out against
Dame
when he was with PG in the playoffs against Dame. Dame had that man in a mental straitjacket. That was when his jump shot really was like completely killed, and he just could not shoot, and he kept trying. So much of his game, he's like such a boom and bust guy where his strengths are so unbelievably strong, obviously. We know he can get to the rim. His athleticism is ridiculous. Great passer. When he's young, he was a good defender, good defensive playmaker. The rebounding, for whatever that's worth to you. Very impressive skills. You hate the narrative of not leading to winning. Part of it is true. To the extent we can debate on how much isn't his fault, how much he does impact people, how much he doesn't. To an extent, he gets slandered too much in some regards. For that 3-year peak is really good, which is why he's above Allen Iverson for me. Because I think that 3-year peak is legit. And him and Allen Iverson, who I have at 16, have basically the same accolades, honestly. They both have an MVP. They both made a finals, even though Allen Iverson did it as a one option. They both don't have that much longevity. There's similar lengths of longevity there. I just think Westbrook has a more all-around game, which to me matters. Better passer, better defender in their primes. Actually, defender's close, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, he can't be higher because if you replace, you said that he's a top 3 point guard. If you replace Chris Paul with Russell Westbrook on those teams, they win the fucking finals easily. Him, KD, and Harden. Just some stars are better playing next to other stars, and that matters at the highest level. You got to be scalable next to other guys, and you're not going to have to be the best guy, and that's his downfall compared to other stars.
And that's fair, and that's also why I had him at 15. It's more so the specific situation that he was in with him and Kevin Durant. Yeah, you may not be able to play with everybody, but you can play with him. And you guys were extremely successful. Like they were going to they went to like 4 conference finals in 6 years. Like they were knocking on the door. And at that point, it gets to KD not coming through, Westbrook not coming through, all that stuff, right? Also, Scott Brooks being not the greatest coach in the world. There were a lot of problems with OKC, but they still had opportunities to go out and get back to the finals and win there. It bothers me a little bit whenever we look back at Russ, and now we kind of, look at it with the glasses of, oh well, look at what happened in Houston, look what happened in
For sure.
in LA. See, that's kind of the whole thing, and I just don't rock with that.
I
part
understand
of it.
that.
But I do agree though that there is a certain part of Russ where you love him and you hate him, and I specifically remember there's a shot against, I can't remember exactly what year. I think it was 2014 where they're in a closeout game against the Spurs and it's right at the end and you need like a good shot. And Russ takes this like fading 3 on the right wing and it hits like the side of the backboard. I remember watching it with my dad and both of us just put our hands up like, Russ, no! Like there's definitely moments like that. So I don't want to act like he's just like this, the highest IQ player, but there is a certain level of respect that I don't think that he necessarily gets in terms of how good he was.
I think it works both ways. One, yes, people hate him because he sucked later in his career and they forget about the good parts. Mm-hmm. But also, I think we just learned certain things about his game as the career went on that made us think back to those younger years and realize those problems were still there. We just didn't quite understand him and certain elements of stars playing together to the same extent. Where at the time, he wasn't a problem with him and KD. They were arguably the best duo in the league at a certain point. But now you can look back and you're like, oh, if they did have Chris Paul instead, we see what the difference would have been, now that we know so much about Russing with so many other star comparisons.
Chris Paul would have been hurt. Now what?
Probably.
Everybody has their issues. So
we just know so much now about fit that younger people didn't quite understand, like 2014, 2015, that people just like learn more over time and look back at Westbrook and like, oh, okay, so certain things could have happened differently if he had a better fit. And the problem is that you can say that with a lot of guys and be like, imagine him here and he'd fit better. Not a lot of ways you can imagine Westbrook fitting with other stars and being like, oh, that would be better.
He was playing with the perfect player to put on.
Yeah, honestly, he's already with the perfect guy.
Match up anyone else other than KD.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Something that's like more interesting to me is seeing how much higher you have Kidd over Westbrook, when I think naturally we can all agree like Russell Westbrook is just in general the better individual player.
No, we can't. I don't agree with that.
How is he not the better individual player?
For everything I just said.
There's the tax of Russ, no. I mean, like there is that aspect of it where you said earlier when you were talking about Jason Kidd, that he's always going to make the right play. That Jason Kidd is able to control a game even if he doesn't have like these crazy counting stats, and he always has he always has the ability to again take control over the pace of a game, where Russ he can get 30, 10, and 10.
He knows the one pace.
Yeah. He can get 30, 10, and 10. Jason Kidd can leave the game with 17, 9, and 7, and you'll be like, wow, he played the best game out of anybody. Like he was involved in everything.
That's fair.
Westbrook is a better volume scorer. He's better at getting to 30 more often, but that's not always what leads to high level offense. And I think throughout the course of their career, Kidd consistently led higher offensive ratings, consistently led better teams as the engine of the offense. Obviously, Kidd's a much better defender. I understand Russ has a good defensive reputation from when he was young. Kidd is far more fundamental, more consistent of defender throughout his entire career.
Thanks.
Passing, even though Russ is a very good passer, Kidd's a better passer. It's just scoring volume that Westbrook has, and that doesn't necessarily mean making him more valuable scorer even.
Nah.
Especially
I mean,
when we start
certain
talking about
aspects,
like traditional
but-
point guard roles. Like I
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
know
I
only
can
years-
understand that.
yeah.
And the only years he has that is when he's alone, and it leads to nothing to but 6 seeds. When he's playing with other guys, his scoring volume isn't even that much higher, and it's still less efficient.
They had that man playing with Cantor, Sabonis,
Ugh.
Oladipo.
Ugh.
Ew, you said
Like a
Sabonis.
great year. And again, that's why he's high, because it's a very respectable year,
You know,
great peak,
Lottery.
talented
that-
player. But
Yeah.
if you want to win a championship, I think it's a no-brainer to pick Kidd, Nash, Gervin, and Doncic above him.
Yes, but like you said earlier, like this isn't only about like, wanting to win a championship. It's totality too. Westbrook has what, like 9 or 10 all NBAs to his name. Of course, we all remember the
That's true.
MVP, All Stars, but
Yeah.
I could like lay it on. He has the accolades, and when I see Westbrook, I think of like history alongside of him. Now, of course, that comes with like also
do you
talking
think
about
about Jason
Russell
Kidd?
Westbrook as like the most polarizing superstar in over the last like 10, 15 years or whatever. But when I think of Jason Kidd too, I think of more him as the player than like how he's left his mark in NBA history. It's a balance.
I think that
between
might
the
be
two.
because we watched one and not the other. I think Jason Kidd is just as historical as Westbrook. It just wasn't our era.
Historical different ways. Historical.
I mean,
different
Jason
ways.
Kidd is leading.
The historical
teams
ways
to
is we
finals.
saw 2017. That's the biggest historical thing is we saw 2017.
No,
we didn't
I'm
see
not even talking
2002
about
when Kidd made the finals. We didn't see 2002. That's just as historic.
I'm talking about like breaking records and shit like that. Like Kidd doesn't have that onto his resume at all. You know? I'm talking about.
Sure.
Yeah.
Triple doubles, great. Again, that's a nice nod, but that doesn't necessarily inherently make him more valuable. Like he has
That's
these
not the
cool
point.
narratives of historicalness. I agree. Like I see what you're getting at, but it doesn't make him better. He has 3 more All NBA teams, which is something. That's tangible. 6 to 9. 9-time All Defense though makes up for it to me. Obviously being the better player. He has the ring, however much you feel for that. He led a team to the finals as a one option. It's
MVP
close enough
as
to
well.
me. Yeah, it's close enough that I have no problem going with a better player.
Ah,
Does he have an MVP? I don't think Kidd has an MVP.
no,
J.
Kidd doesn't
Kidd?
have
No.
an MVP.
No, he doesn't have one.
Yeah, no, hell no, he doesn't. If he had one, then I'll fully lean on Kidd. But
But
That's
a
ways.
callback. 2
That's
sportsmanship
ways.
awards. 2 of them.
there we go again. Goddamn, bro, go to hell.
Let's look at Donovan's.
At 11, I have Nash. At 12, I have Kidd. 13, I have Luka. 14, I have George Gervin. At 15, I have Westbrook.
I love we all have George Gervin here.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Look at that. Nobody sold on George Gervin.
Listen, we understand how good George Gervin is, right?
We do.
It's the theme of the day. We understand that the game is about getting buckets, and George Gervin is
One of the greatest.
one of the greatest bucket getters, right? Everybody, listen, you talk about all these fancy lays, all the jelly. That's George Gervin's bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the reason why you guys are doing all this stuff, right? That's George Gervin. Understand his influence. Understand the silky smoothness to his game. He's just like that. He's just like that.
There's a lot of guys who are just score first, like a T-Mac, and doesn't always lead to winning. That's why T-Mac is lower than George Gervin, right? There's other guys in history that, like I said, they're about a bucket. They can do their thing. George Gervin was such a great scorer for the era. It just led to winning at the highest level. It led to elite offense because that's what the era called for, because you couldn't have as much ball movement. Passing wasn't quite as important as it is now with the era spacing and skip passes and stuff. He had 5 straight years of first-team All-NBA, just like Luka. In his first 7 years in the NBA, after the NBA-ABA merger, MVP ballot every single year. First-team All-NBA every single year. He had a 59% true shooting, which is 6% higher than average back then. Outrageously efficient despite not being able to shoot jumper like Sidney Moncrief. And the difference between why he's higher than other bucket getters, from 78 to 80, which is the best 3 years, the Spurs were second, third, and third in offensive rating. Just some of the best offenses in the NBA, despite being led by just a pure scorer. That's not normal. That's incredible. The only reason you don't think about him in history is because the Showtime Lakers beat the fuck out of him in the conference finals every time. They beat his ass twice. He made it to Game 7 against the Bullets when they were in the East that first time he made the conference finals. But then he got his fucking back blown out by Magic and Kareem twice.
And at that point, what can you do about it, bro?
Yeah.
Like that's
It is
when
what
you
it
have
is,
to
man.
look at the nuance of things and just be like, yeah, bro. Like you put anybody there and the same thing would happen. Your back's getting blown up.
Against the
regardless.
82 Lakers, he's getting clapped. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But he was incredible.
Done in the worst way. Done in the absolute worst way. So it's like, yeah.
Walk.
Oh my god.
But he's. I think he might be
Oh,
the
that's
most
funny.
underrated guard. Is he the most underrated guard of all time? He's one of them.
That's funny. Yeah, we're
I'll
getting
put
there.
him top 5 for sure.
We're
Easy.
getting there.
Yeah.
Tim and Sidney Moncrief, top 5.
Yeah, it's got to be. Those are probably the most two underrated on this list.
Let
And
us-
Tony Parker.
All right. Let's roll in. Let's roll up.
What's so
Let's roll
funny?
up.
I love it when we do a rankings and I get forced into a corner that I don't give a fuck about. I've never once defended Tony Parker a day in my life, and now I have to.
Let's tap
Now-
into the
now
top.
you're
And the
staying.
comments are gonna remember me. They're gonna remember me as being so pro Tony Parker. When if you look at like episode 85 or something, there's probably me slandering Tony Parker.
That's funny.
It's a life you lead.
Who's next?
Top 10 me, please.
On to the top 10. Oh, I'm up first. Let's get spicy. At 6, I have Jerry West. 7, Dwayne Wade. 8, Isaiah Thomas. 9, James Harden. 10, Chris Paul. This is pretty hard to rank. I'm confident that Jerry West has to be the top. After that, you can convince me of any order.
Your list is ass.
And literally any order. 7 through 10, Wade, Thomas, Harden, Paul. I'm okay with literally any order.
Huh.
So who do you like the most? Pick them. They can go to 7.
Okay.
I mean,
I-
I don't hate.
Actually, no. Chris Paul. Never mind. Chris Paul can't be 7. I changed that. Take that back. Wade, Thomas, and Harden can be 7. Never mind.
No,
Never mind.
no,
Because
no,
Harden
no,
can't be both.
no.
Tom,
Wade.
yeah,
Never mind.
Harden
Never mind.
it's either Wade or
Never mind. I
Thomas.
lied.
9.
It's either
Yeah,
Wade
it's
or
Wade or
Thomas.
Thomas. I lied.
9, yeah.
Now that I look at it, it crystallizes. Harden can't be both Wade, so it's Wade or Thomas at 7. That's the tier.
It's a pretty good list. I don't hate this. I don't have any real qualms about this.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Who's
Ironically
next?
enough,
Yeah, I'm
I have
sorry.
the same exact
but
list.
I really don't have anything to say.
I have the
'cause I
same
think-
exact
Alright, let's look
list,
at it.
ironically
Yeah, I
enough,
think I'm
bro.
pretty lockstep. Who's next?
Okay, let's reveal everybody else's 6 through 10. Mo's the same as me. Don, what do you got different?
I have Big O at 7.
Big O
I have
showed up.
Wade at 8. I have Harden at 9. Chris Paul at 10. Jerry West at 6.
Okay.
I said that
I like
completely.
that we all
said
respected
that,
Jerry West.
Yeah, I said that completely out of order, but I'm sorry.
You did, but it's fine. You said the numbers.
Okay.
Audio listeners, tough. Come watch the YouTube video.
I'm sorry.
So 6 Jerry West, 7 Oscar Robertson, 8 Dwayne Wade, 9 Harden, 10 Paul.
Yes.
I like that we all agree on Paul and Harden being 9th and 10th. It just feels right.
It does.
Well, yeah, we all know. Even though the media really hates Harden and all the choking that he's done over the last 8 years of his career, we have to sit back as grown adults and realize this dude has almost never been really favored in any of the matchups that he's went up against in the playoffs. Every single team that he's lost to, he was supposed to lose to. He did not have the better team, didn't have the better roster, and all that, And
I love how Vegas. I'm sorry. I love how Vegas just skews our stuff into like even if somebody's favored, like it's not just like two just really good NBA teams, and it's like, oh well, he was supposed to lose. Like, yeah, but at the same time, you can still play it
Sports
out.
betting is a plague.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could still play it out, and even if the
No, you're right.
underdog won, it shouldn't even be a shock like that. But you were supposed to lose, supposed to win. Like I
No, I know what you
guess.
mean. At the end of the day, it is cope, but the reason James Harden isn't a top 5 guard or isn't in the conversations is because the best players of all time find a way to win when they're not favored, and he couldn't do that. So he's just outside the best players of all time, which is fine.
yeah,
Honestly, he's kind of like the 90s guys who just ran into the buzzsaw of the Bulls. He ran into the buzzsaw of the Warriors. That'll define his legacy, is he could not beat the Warriors. He got as close as anybody did in the West. Couldn't do it in the day, and his prime years were wasted on that because the Warriors were so in fuck with the Bull. And then once they went away, so did his hamstrings.
yeah.
So he almost got it in 2021. If his hamstring didn't fall out the bone, I think he would have got the championship, which would have changed everything because he was still a demon in that year. He was 27 and 10 every night, but he's just misfortune, right? Sometimes it doesn't
It's
happen.
a tough scene, exactly. And I think this range right here just has to falls in line with luck for the most part too.
Yeah.
And it's just one of
Yeah,
those
he's right
things.
behind the guys who it did happen for them. IT did get a championships. He did lead offense at the highest level for his era. I don't think he's as individually talented as Harden, but he got it done.
Exactly.
Obviously, Jerry West got his one. The greatest loser of all time, honestly. He's Harden to even better degree because he made a bunch of finals.
But
and
he got one.
destroyed by the. Yeah, exactly. He's honestly the same thing. He kept running into the buzzsaw team, but finally he got one.
You got one.
And then Wade has multiple rings, and Wade is also incredible peak. It's hard to give Harden that nod when Wade got it done as a first option in 2006 in a very impressive fashion.
In year
Yeah, if
3.
Harden had one of those runs at any point in his career, then he could be he would be top 6. Easily.
Literally, if if KD tore his Achilles a year prior instead, and he got gifted the ring instead of Kawhi, not say gifted, that's disrespectful, but if he had the right opportunity to get the ring instead of Kawhi, it would change everything. Like, that's the difference in NBA history is which year did you get, who got lucky with injury luck and who didn't when the best teams in the league are all healthy.
I agree.
Tough.
I agree.
And he got unlucky because Chris Paul fell apart. So really, Chris Paul fucked him.
That's the thing with Chris Paul. I wish I could put
I
him
told
higher.
y'all. I told
But
y'all.
at the same
you saw,
time, too,
you saw,
it's just like-
you saw Chris Paul out for Russ. What happens? Hamstring.
He'd fuck KD.
It's over.
But listen, at least you can live with that rather than seeing Russell Westbrook do. Never mind.
Actually, no. I would actually rather a bad performance rather than live with like the what if for the rest of. Because like if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, that series is different. Like it just plays out differently. And so I'd rather
the Rockets probably win. Like they probably straight up win.
Yeah. And so I'd rather like have the situation play out and be like, all right, well, I guess that's what happened rather than coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I was just throwing a cheap shot at you to see if you'd react. I know, I agree.
Exactly.
But okay, I guess this is a pretty lockstep tier. You have Oscar Robertson lower. I'm guessing you have IT higher because you fucking love the Pistons.
Surprise,
Fine.
surprise.
I won't argue you down. We argued you down in episode 50 with all-time rankings about IT. I don't have that energy again. You love him more than I hate him, so you're gonna win.
Surprise, surprise.
Let's move on to the top 5.
Y'all gonna respect greatness.
Who's up
today.
first? I respect him just fine. It's number 7. Oh, I'm up first. 1, I have Michael Jeffrey Jordan. 2, Irvin Magic Johnson. 3, Kobe Bean Bryant. 4, Wardell Steph Curry. 5, Oscar Robertson.
I think most.
Wow.
I wish I knew Oscar Robertson's middle name.
Okay, this is so interesting to me immediately because you have Kobe over Curry. And a couple weeks ago when we did our episode 100 special, I believe you were with me when it came to having a debate against Pierre from Numbers on the Board, having Curry over Kobe. Interesting.
For sure.
Flip sides. And
that
I can
was-
understand it.
Yeah, again, I still think of that. Again, 3 accolades, longevity, 3-year peak. I think 3-year peak Curry's better than Kobe. I find that to be a very easy argument for me that peak Curry is top 3 offensive player of all time, led the best team of all time, and is a top 3 player I probably want on my team in terms of leading good offense, helping everybody around him. Like he's almost, besides LeBron and Jordan, he's might be the surest thing to having a good team if you pick Pete Curry. So I'd rather have him than Kobe. But the other 2 parts of that equation, longevity and accolades, you got to give Kobe. He has fucking 5 rings. They both got rings off of a super team, essentially. Even though Kobe and Shaq was less of a super team, was more a super duo. So those are a little bit more impressive to me than the KD Warrior rings.
Yeah.
And he got 2 in the second act, and Curry only got 1. He has more all NBA teams, more all defense teams, because Curry has 0, obviously. More all-stars, longer longevity. His resume puts him just above Curry because they're close enough in terms of quality of player. I might think Curry's a little bit better, but I understand that that's very
I ain't gonna
subjective.
lie. For me, that singular ring that Curry won back in 2022 weighs more than Kobe's other ring that he won post.
And that's again because you watched one, not the other.
That team was. That team was.
That team wasn't that
genuinely
ass. That was a good team. It looks ass because afterwards they got ass, but they caught lightning in a bottle. Wiggins was good. Porter was good. They got some out of Clay. Draymond was good. Like that wasn't a terrible team.
You're so disrespectful.
They just
Definitely
immediately
not.
got terrible after that.
Definitely not. Wiggins was just he committed fraud, basically.
Wiggins had a Cinderella run. It is what it is. He had his Linsanity run, and they got a championship out of it, and good for them. Sometimes you strike lightning in a bottle. It's not repeatable.
Tough scene, man. But
So do you have Curry above Kobe?
yeah, I actually did. I believe I'm number 2 as well.
Okay,
We can
let's
just
move
roll
on to
my
yours.
list. So at number 1, I am. Whoa, there we go. Number 1, Jordan. Number 2, Curry. 3, Magic. 4, Kobe. And 5, Oscar Robinson, one of the greatest.
Okay. Curry above Magic is a choice.
Absolutely.
I'm smelling some crayons around in the air, an aroma.
No crayons. No crayons. Be back in reality. Be back in reality.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay. So when I sit down and think about the Curry versus Magic conversation that's been happening over the last few years, I see Magic. I see the 6'9" demon who's obviously does it all outside of shooting when it comes to offense and, You know, defense is not really his calling card. Neither is it for Steph Curry. They both dominate in completely different ways, but they give you like the same type of just like all-time production and like value. Magic paved like an entirely different way for people, and also like so did Steph Curry. But when I sit down and think about how it gets done for Curry, I prefer not only like building my team around something like that, but I also think it's just harder to go ahead and do what Curry does on a consistent basis. And I think he just like attracts so much more because of the spacing.
Yeah.
It's all that, and it's hard to value that, you know?
I think what that is, to me, I think that's, you're going to view the game through a modern landscape. And when you say you'd rather have the way Curry does it, because that fits the modern game better, and it's hard to divorce
I see someone like Magic Johnson today and like LeBron James and like back a couple years ago and Ben Simmons, and I see how dominant that is, of course.
Okay, I'm not going to even kind of.
Yeah, I know what you
different
mean.
Different can of worms.
Yeah.
But for their era, they're both like the peak of what you want. The way that Curry completely revolutionized the game with the 3-point shooting and building around that with the off-ball gravity that brings and everything. Magic also did that with how they empowered him to push the pace and use his passing and set people up. That was something the league had never seen before.
Exactly.
Or they've seen high-level passing. I mean, high-level fast
that combination, though,
the combination of things was equally as revolutionary for the time and equally as effective for the time. We're in a different era now where shooting matters more, partially because of his influence. But I don't think that like Magic gets to that level of impact for the time as well.
For sure, I can't disregard that. Without someone like Magic, this trend that people have been trying to like replicate of just big guys doing things that smaller guys should be able to thrive at. Like it starts with him and it ends with him. And
in the same way that Curry's by far the best shooter of all time, I'd make it clear, Magic is by far the best passer of all time. Like his jump there is like just as wide. I actually saw a tweet about like last week. The only reason I know this, his playoff splits of playoff series, his assists are utterly ridiculous. He has playoff runs where like every series was like 14, 15 assists per game. He elevated as a passer in the same way some people elevate as a scorer. Like, trust, his level of passing is by far the greatest of all time.
I can't speak on his pass or how. I can't speak on like gap like that because I haven't watched him in a while. Probably been over a year since I genuinely watched Magic Johnson in the finals. Last time I watched it was when we were fucking recording episode 50. So it's been literally a little bit over a year. So I can't talk about the gap just like that. But if it is like how you're saying it in terms of like, if you're originally like his gap when it comes to his passing is just as wide of the gap when it comes to Steph Curry's shooting, then you got it there. You got it there.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I get it. It's going to be close. If Curry continues to have a longer run and has more longevity, which I think he will, it'll be a close debate forever. So I don't mean to say that it's crazy to put Curry above. It feels crazy right now, but in 10 years when people have this debate, I don't think it'll be viewed as crazy at all.
Okay.
So you're ahead of your time. There you go.
I'm ahead of my time. Shut up.
Donovan, who's your top 5?
Let's show it. I have Jordan at 1, Magic at 2, Kobe at 3, Steph at 4, and then Isaiah Thomas at 5.
All right, get your nut off.
Love it.
What?
Get it off. We know you've been waiting to talk about it.
I mean, listen, I think that the Bad Boy Pistons are some of the most underrated, underappreciated teams in NBA history. I think Isaiah Thomas is a 20-10 guy. I think Isaiah Thomas, when you talk about point guards who are able to be the best on their team, there's a very small list, right? It's like Isaiah Thomas, it's Steph Curry, it's Magic Johnson in terms of getting their team there and winning it. Scoring wise, that team was very much by a committee, but Isaiah Thomas was the head of that snake. And I think for him, like his playmaking and his scoring ability, like he's had years earlier in his career, right, in the playoffs and even in the regular season where his scoring was really high. They were getting stomped out, but hey, they ran into the they ran into the buzzsaw. But
yeah, it'd be like that.
Exactly. But you see that whenever it comes time for the Pistons to start like stepping into their destiny, Isaiah Thomas is leading it. And I just think like watching him and watching everything that the Pistons were able to accomplish and watching the way that he was able to really imprint his impact on the game, I watch him and it's literally just eye test for me. Whenever I watch Isaiah Thomas, I can't take my eyes off him. I think he plays amazing.
Sure. I mean, we have him at 7.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, 5 through 7 is kind of like a mini tier.
Yeah, I love Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think 1 through 4, obviously 1, Jordan's Jordan, he's his own tier. 2 through 4, Magic, Kobe, Curry is a tier for me. And then 5 through 7, Robertson, West,
Wade.
Isaiah Thomas. Like that's another little mini tier.
You want to put Wade in that tier or no?
No.
Oh yeah, Wade too. Yeah, I forgot about Wade. Yeah, Wade.
Wade belongs in that tier?
Yeah, I mean, I have Wade one spot above Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, I do too, but damn. I think 5 is kind of like its own tier in its own.
Just Oscar Robertson? Just him?
Yeah, just Oscar Robertson, because you can't, first off, back in the day, of course, but also like when it comes to his run and how consistent he was able to just like do what he did and have like such trash teammates and elevate to like his utmost capability. I just can't. Like,
again, I'll say, like I said earlier, I don't know a fucking thing about the 60s. I won't pretend I do. I'm just respecting greatness. And I know he was utterly dominant for the time. I'm straight salute. I will never pretend to know anything about the 1960s. You'll never hear it from me.
It's fair.
And that's the end of our list. I think it was a good one. I love the good debates. I think, only thing I would change is, like I said, I'll flip Clyde Drexler and Tony Parker. Y'all got that. Other than that, I'm happy with my list.
I'm putting Gary Payton higher on my list.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I think I would definitely lower Clyde Drexler on my list for sure.
And there we go, man. I think now it's time once again for Producer Corner. Nicholas, how are we doing?
What?
I'm good, man. Yeah, he calls me Nicholas sometimes.
Don't do that to his name.
My bad. Let me not whitewash him.
All right, this is fucking on my intro. I thought I'd actually intro. I thought I'd actually intro Producer Corner because it's an all-time episode. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of new viewers. Basically, they just give me like 15 minutes every week to vibe.
15. Don't push it.
Sometimes it's 20. You know,
it's a hard 7.
There's no agenda. We talk about the most random stuff. Like last week, we saw Isaac's baby pictures. One time, we tier listed fried chicken. And, another time we talked about Spirit Airlines, why it's overhated, stuff like that. So there's honestly, it can go in any direction that I wanted to. And so that's what Producer Corner is. And so welcome to Producer Corner. So This week, it's more yappy and it's more of it's more topic driven. It's not like gamey.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you guys what you think is like the greatest or like most convenient modern luxury to you? And so what I mean by that is like
the internet.
100%.
No.
It's air conditioning. It's not even.
well, let me give some examples because air conditioning
freezers.
No, so I mean some like Uber or like Amazon Prime, Airbnb.
I was going to say freezers. We used to have to salt meats back in the day to keep them healthy.
Yeah,
freezers changed the game.
Y'all don't understand
like having
curing.
like birds and limes.
50 prosciutto came out of the cow looking like that. We had to do that for a reason. Actually, prosciutto's pork.
But it can be anything, like even like Ticketmaster or like FaceTime, stuff like that.
Ticketmaster's right.
Oh, it's not Ticketmaster. Fuck Ticketmaster.
Well, I'm
all my homies hate
I'm
Ticketmaster.
talking about these general concepts, and so while y'all think about that, I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Honestly, I think mine is probably rideshare. In terms of like convenience, I think it's honestly a little. I don't think people think about how nice it actually is.
By rideshare, you mean like Uber?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
okay.
you can like travel like pretty much anywhere, like any country too. You don't need to speak the language. You don't need to like worry about how to pay. You just like call an Uber, and they just come to your exact location. Like there's no like, oh, I'm on like this street and this street. They just come exactly where you are.
Okay, that's fair.
And like you don't need to worry about like renting a car.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
That is.
Whenever I'm in a city, at least when I'm in a city, I never once worry about planning travel. I'm just like, they'll come to me whenever I want.
Yeah.
Even as far like 20 years ago, you couldn't do that. You had to like be in an area where there's taxis, take a bus to where there's taxis, get on a subway if you're in a big city like that. Like it was definitely something you got to plan. On the same note, I'm gonna go GPS apps like on the phone. When I was a little kid,
that's a good
even when in my lifetime, I'm not that old. We used to have back when GPS first around, the fucking TomToms that you put on the in the car, which is like a GPS like tablet almost that you put on your thing.
They don't know about that.
Yeah, and like that happened when I was a kid. That like 2005, TomToms came out. Before that, you had to get fucking maps.
Yeah.
Like, imagine driving. I'm in LA. Imagine driving to San Francisco and I gotta get a fucking map. Like that,
No.
that would suck.
Bro, and
On
it,
God,
it gets
dude.
outdated instantly. Like there's
Yeah.
no traffic information. Like the highways change. Yeah.
And even like locally, I don't know. Like anytime I want to go anywhere, I kind of know. Like if I need to go to Westwood and go to a restaurant, I kind of know how to get there ish. I don't think about it at all. I just type it in my phone and follow the directions. Like there's zero thought that has to go into it. There's no wasted information up here about directions.
Dude, back in the day, my dad
That's
used
a
to
good
print out
point.
stacks of paper every time we went out to like go see
Yeah.
a relative or whatever. It used to be crazy. Yeah.
You got to do that shit for Olive Garden. Like it was everywhere. You had that.
Yeah.
You needed something.
Hey man, that was the
Yeah.
spot. You know, you have to roll out the red carpet for Olive Garden. Does it mean something? Does I don't know. Does like I guess for me, does Apple Music count? Does like streaming, like music streaming
Yeah,
count?
yeah.
I'd say so.
I
Yeah,
think for me, like now we don't have to talk about what it's done to the industry, but like
Yeah, we
but, like,
ruined the careers of musicians. But
Exactly.
it's nice for us.
But for
Yeah.
me
That's why I'm saying
personally,
convenience.
for me
sure.
personally, like all of these like albums that I have like behind me, it's crazy that you used to have to go and pay $12 for one, where now I can pay $12 and I have every song that's ever been created by every artist, and it's just like right there at my fingertip. I can listen to it at any time. Like I remember my aunt having the CD book, and you would go and like you have your mix, and it's like, listen, whatever you're listening to. And I still kind of listen to music like that, where I'll play an album and I'll just like listen to it kind of through, or I have like an artist and I kind of, just press play on that. But whatever was on that CD, you're going to listen to it, and it's just going to be in rotation for a while. And
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah.
the lengths that you had to go to create this like perfectly curated playlist it just took too much time where you can just make it instantly.
Dude, the first year I got into music, I kind of had like a music taste awakening in like 6th grade. I was buying CDs that year. Like that was
Yeah.
before Apple Music and shit. That's like 2011. I was out here buying Eminem Recovery and The Adventures of B.O.B. and shit at Target. Like
Shout out B.O.B.
That was in our lifetime. I was out here fucking buying CDs. I would never buy a CD today.
I can't believe people used to buy individual songs on like iTunes.
Yeah.
Like it'd be
I remember
like
doing
$0.99.
I did
Yeah.
that. I did that as
I bought
as well.
ringtones.
I did that as
Oh,
well.
ringtones. Oh my god.
And it's wild because like
You buy voicemails.
bro, like now, like every physical piece, or not every physical, but like 95% of the physical music that I have, I'm buying it because I've heard the album before, and like that,
Yes.
and like that album like means something to me. I just like want to have the physical of it. To have to go and buy whatever physical it was, and just like hope that it was good music is crazy.
Yeah.
It's
That
wild.
is
Like you're
crazy.
taking a gamble, and you're really just buying stuff because you're like, I like this artist. Their last one was good. I don't know what they're gonna do now, but here's my $12. And
Literally for the love of the game.
yeah, and
Dude, really
you,
like,
you could put it in, and it could be the worst album you've. Imagine paying $12 for Chance the Rapper's Big Day and being so mad and just throwing away $15. Like it would be.
What's that
so
Kid Cudi
bad.
album? What's that Kid Cudi album where he's shrieking
Which one?
ridiculously?
Which one?
The first rock album, the experimental one, it's at the worst
I
songs of all
can't remember.
time.
I'll ask you know who about it.
I don't know. Imagine buying that. That would be so fucking funny.
Exactly.
dude, it was even worse whenever you'd have to like buy a CD or whatever, and then you'd have to like rip it onto your computer and like
Oh, yeah.
transfer the files onto whatever bootleg MP3 player you had.
Yeah, man.
It
Man, we're
feels
dating
dangerous,
ourselves. Everyone in the
No
comments
thanks.
like, what the fuck is it? 2011? Ugh.
You're talking about
Yeah.
ripping
Senior
CDs?
citizen?
That's crazy.
All right, Unc.
Mo, what's your answer?
Dang.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it wasn't long ago. Fucking 13 years.
No, exactly.
I think something for me, again, that like hits close to home is it's not like all inclusive to this app, but because some apps do it now, but one of the first to do it was WhatsApp. I remember growing up, every single time my mom would want to talk to her mom or her sibling or whatever it might be, they would have to run to the international store and grab a calling card. And they'll scratch that bitch off, and they would have to like put in whatever special number. They got like 5-10 minutes or whatever to yap
Yeah.
on their phone. And now they just do it for the absolute free. Can do it however long they
Shout out
want.
WhatsApp, man.
Yeah, shout out to
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
Oh, another one is food technology. You know how easy it is as us today to be able to diet and like have all these protein snacks and protein shakes and all this like
No,
education around
facts.
food
What a time.
and how many products are available to us.
Yeah.
Like it is so much better than it must have been back in the day.
Yes.
Nah.
You can track literally anything. Yeah, make whatever you want.
Yeah.
Bro, you can be like Nebraska and get like Migos. Like,
Oh, let's not get into trade routes. Let's not get into
Oh my God.
Let's not get into trade routes. Let's not talk about that.
Before the Cuban Missile Crisis, back in the day, if you were
No, that's funny as hell.
before the Havana Canal.
yeah. All right. Well, listen, that's producer corner, man.
What a quarter.
1,700 trade routes, man.
Oh yeah.
You don't miss in the game.
1,400 trade routes.
I was tempted to see how far I wanted to push this, but let me stop talking. It is now time for TikTok time.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome to TikTok time. Today we are starting with a tier list, a very special tier list that's near and dear to my heart, near and dear to Mo's heart. I know especially near and dear to Donovan's heart. You're talking about our glorious king, Lapuki James. We're going to do a tier list of the greatest and most iconic moments of LeBron James's career.
Oh, man. One of the most iconic players in
Calm
NBA
down,
history.
calm down, calm
so
down, calm
many
down.
iconic moments. What?
I hear it
What
in
did I
your
say
tone
I was
already.
wrong?
I hear it in your tone
Oh
already.
boy, where do I begin?
You're pre-glazing. You're pre-glazing. Relax. Calm down.
Just telling the truth.
So real simple. A through F or S through F, we got a tier list. I'm gonna name moments, plays, accomplishments, different variations, but iconic moments of the King's career. You guys let me know where it falls.
King's career is ridiculous.
I've never said that before.
It's ridiculous.
I've never said that before. I just wanted to
That's
piss
so
you off.
embarrassing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would
know.
never call him king.
I just wanted to piss him off. I couldn't do it with a straight face. I've never once said the king. All right, first off, the first championship, 2012.
I mean,
That's
S tier.
cool. It needed to happen.
Anytime you win a championship, it's S tier.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, especially, I mean, if you have multiple, some of them aren't as impressive as others. But this was the ultimate get the monkey off my back championship. He was the most scrutinized player in the world for so many years. This must be such a relief.
No, keep talking. I just need to look up where that phrase comes from because it is kind of wild.
Off my back.
Where does that come from?
What?
Keep going.
Your terminology, your analogy back is fucking crazy. Not gonna
You gonna
lie
blame
to
that
you.
on me?
Yes, that's on you. What if it wasn't and then you just said it?
Like I made that shit up?
You probably did.
But yeah, I mean, it's not his most
understand you.
impressive championship, but it's
Yeah.
his most needed for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Especially coming off of the 2011 loss, which is arguably the greatest loss for a superstar of that caliber ever.
Oh, not arguable. It is the worst loss. It is the worst loss.
Okay. We get it. Bad loss, whatever, losing to JJ Barea and them boys or whatever. But for him to go ahead, win it against KD, Harden, and Baby Russ and all that other stuff. Cool. Much needed moment. Got the finals MVP too. S tier moment to Chip. Like
The only thing that could have made this better is if he would have got his get back against the Mavs.
that would have been special. He would have
100%.
ran.
He
They
could've
would
struck-
have ran them that
If
year.
you could have put
too.
the fear of God in Jason Terry's eyes.
But Mark
Yeah,
Cuban
they
wanted to be
would've ran
cheap.
them out.
Couldn't happen.
Ooh. Speaking of that, what are we gonna do with him getting the get back on Jason Terry specifically and dunking on him?
Oh, that's S tier. That's S tier. I remember. Listen, I used to have a computer class, and every day when I would go in there, I would change the screensaver to this specific picture. people were moving.
Donovan.
They would change it every single day. I put it on this. Listen.
Do you
this-
not?
What?
Do you not realize you're back end glazing right now? You've been the first one so far to say S
Back
tier,
end
S tier.
glazing?
Back end glazing right now. You're glazing in like different
Don't-
ways we
don't-
never
don't-
seen
Glazing the
before.
rear end.
Don't
That
put
is
that on me.
crazy.
Don't put that on me.
That is on you, brother.
I need
That
you
is
to
on
understand.
you.
This is more about my detest.
You're getting
for
creative
Jason
when
Terry.
it comes to finding out ways to glaze.
I don't like
Oh my
Jason
God.
Terry. All right.
Woo.
Anytime we can embarrass Jason Terry on national television, right? Immortalize his dub. It's S tier.
That's it. There we go. Best play of his career.
All right.
What do we do with the decision? Iconic moment. Good or bad? I don't know.
F tier.
It's
Hear me out.
iconic. You said S tier?
F tier.
Oh, F
F tier?
tier. Oh, why?
I will say it has aged very corny. It has aged in a very corny way to make this big old broadcast to do your decision.
Listen, you are lucky you did it at the Boys and Girls Club. That's the only saving grace from the entire thing.
It's helping out the community. It's charity.
You
How's
could have
it F?
you could have wrote a check and gave it to him. You didn't.
Yeah, but it
you didn't have
was
to
a
make the whole
co-deal
production.
with
It's F.
ESPN.
It's F
What you
tier.
mean?
It's F tier.
All right, you can put an F tier. Donovan Wayne, he cares more than we do.
Wow, he hates the kids.
Wow. What do we do with the banana boat? The moment this photo was taken, that this meme immortalized.
C or D. It was never funny.
You don't fuck with the banana boat boys?
Plus, they're missing out like one of the key members from the crew too. Chris Paul was not there.
Hey, you snooze, you fucking lose. Sorry.
Not
I was
fair.
trying to plan
He's
a
probably
banana
yelling at
boat
some
for us.
10-year-olds.
I
It's
was
his fault.
I was planning one for us. Are you not
What?
with it?
I'm turning it down because with the
it was
way
a
that you guys
surprise.
are talking about
I'm
Chris
sorry.
Paul, I would be Chris Paul in that situation. Fuck the banana boat.
You just can't swim.
Whoa, what do you mean by that? You can't swim.
That's two.
I can't
That's
swim.
two.
I can't
You
swim.
literally can't swim.
That's
I
two
can't.
today.
That's why I literally can't swim. So, we're going to see.
Now your
Yeah, we
montage
gotta
is
see.
gonna be crazy. We got
was
a
a good
plug
one,
channel
don't
now. Your
No, it was
montage is
good.
gonna be
It was good.
nasty, bro.
All right. What do we go with?
He got a long list of them hoes just ready to rattle off.
The big. Where we go with this 2018 51-point game one performance?
S tier because we got so many like gems from that. One of the greatest memes on again. Well, also one of the greatest performances. Also,
I'm not sure I've ever hated anybody more than I did J.R. Smith that night. It's like that and Pete Carroll throwing the ball at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Those are the two men I've hated the most in sports history.
That is fair. That is fair. You know what?
Has-
You dropped 50 on one of the greatest teams of all time. You got it. But you lost the game. A tier.
no,
Yeah, gotta be S.
You lost.
No,
If you
gotta
win the
be
game,
S.
you're not getting it. It's got to be A tier at best.
You lost.
What? A tier?
You lost your mind on national television because you lost. And because J.R.
You
Smith
would
was-
too. You dropped 51 points. You're gonna lose your mind.
Listen.
Speaking of losing his mind,
I didn't do that,
Speaking
though.
of losing his mind, what do we do with his tantrum after the no call against the Celtics?
Can we put that in
F.
F?
F.
All right.
I think it's hilarious.
It's
I
a
think
great
very
meme.
funny.
But we got to be consistent too. J.R. Smith doing that was very funny as well. Gave us a meme that lasts even longer than what LeBron did in that Lakers era. So you got to be consistent. Plus, it was a meaningless game.
I respect the passion. I get it. I wanted to win that game too as a Lakers fan. Why are you on the floor? Just answer me that question. Why are you on the floor by your own accord? Why did you put yourself there?
That is fair. Grown man. I'm gonna need you to stand up.
Get the fuck
I'm
up.
gonna need you to stand up, Ron. Like,
Yeah, that's embarrassing. Legitimately.
F tier.
why?
Even
listen,
in
I
moments
respect the
before that
passion.
too,
Why?
he was spazzing out. He wasn't even on the floor. He was like, and yeah, nah.
There's that meme of him looking up. He's like, looking at the scoreboard, like he's watching bombs fall.
Oh my goodness.
Next up,
When they get that get back.
what do we go with the 2020 ring?
Oh,
The
man.
bubble after Kobe died
Again,
in the Lakers uniform.
This is iconic as hell. Only bubble
People make fun of it
championship in
now.
history?
People make fun of it now, but it was his first in the Lakers uniform right after Kobe died. It's gonna age like a great moment.
110%. And they make fun of it for the stupidest reasons too. Oh, bubble Disney Channel ring or whatever. Bro, we've seen teams that were favored over the Lakers, like the Los Angeles Clippers, just go ahead and flame out. We've seen the Houston Rockets flame out. So many teams flamed out. They weren't built for the moment like AD, LeBron, Alex Caruso, KCP, and all them boys were. Iconic.
Sounds to me like an A tier.
Put it in an A tier.
No. What did I say before? You win a championship. Gotta go S tier. Gotta go.
Never mind. Sounds to me like an S tier.
Okay.
Where do we go with Space Jam 2?
F, embarrassing.
Listen,
Embarrassing.
I will put it in D only because salute to you. You got a bag. And listen. If that's all you're chasing, by all means, go ahead. If you're trying to create good films, this is not it. It's not it.
Why have I, as an American 2024, seen a movie featuring LeBron James and Rick and Morty?
That should never
LeBron
happen.
James.
That should never happen. We're putting that in D.
Before that day, I thought Suicide Squad 2017 would be the worst movie I've ever seen. I thought Star Wars Attack of the Clones would be the worst movie I've ever seen. Something like that. Space Jam 1 update. That's the worst movie I've ever fucking seen.
He should be ashamed.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Wipe this off his resume, bro. When I think of this
F tier.
movie, I think of him. Yeah, like y'all are right. He
Yeah,
is
it's
not
F
the
tier.
GOAT.
It's F tier.
Donovan, your dad was right. Whenever I think about this movie, he's not even top 6.
Where do we go with his block in 2016?
S tier. We already know this is S tier. What? Blocked by James. Blocked by James. I hear it in my dreams right now.
Keep going. Tell me more.
Did you see the despair in Andre Iguodala's eyes, bro?
And he keeps going.
He acted like
Keep
Christ
going.
stomped. He had like Christ resurrected
And then what,
landed,
Chuck?
bro. It's crazy.
And then what?
And then what?
And what else?
Oh my God, bro. I can go on and on and on. S tier.
Where do I begin? Easy S tier. Defining play of the 2010s. Defining play of LeBron James' career. Defining championship of his career. S tier.
This is what his career is about, right here. Defying all odds. This is what greatness
Where do we
is
go
about.
with his Game 6 performance against the Boston Celtics?
People say this is LeBron's best game ever. Don't know about that.
Yeah.
But it's up there. For
Because I meme of him looking real intense.
It's
looking
me. I'm them. This is his best game. This is his best game ever.
Wow.
I'm people.
Exactly. No, this is S tier. You want to know the definition of locking in, the definition of rising to the occasion? That is this game for LeBron. If they lose this game, Paul Pierce eliminates him yet again. You can't let Paul Pierce one up you. And LeBron said that ends today. I'm giving that S tier.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading something.
Put it in S.
But yeah, literally, he invented locked in syndrome with this game. The originator.
This is my Twitter header, bro. And it always will be. Will never change.
Is it
Oh my
really?
God.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You're 25.
What?
Yeah, you. I never realized how much of a blazer you are. I always thought it was like a joke, but this
No,
is
I'm
just
not.
you.
Dude, he's on one of my last Instagram posts as well.
You're 25.
So? What's that got to do with
Right,
anything?
man.
It's greatness.
Last one, we got LeBron James breaking the all-time scoring record.
Listen, shout out to him, right? He clearly prepared for the moment. He lost the game. Put that in A tier. Right? Like, you lost, bro.
That is quite funny. It was a nationally televised game, probably the highest ratings of the entire year.
He
I mean,
lost.
it was.
He had his
You
suit
act like they
planned.
lost to bums. You act like they lost to bums. It was OKC.
Sir, he had his suit planned 2 weeks out, right? He said in the first half, I'm going to give this everything I have. The record will fall tonight. And what happened in the second half? Listen, he made that shot, had nothing left in the tank. Could not beat the Thunder at home on national television.
My lasting image of this game is the one photo of him taking the fadeaway and Thomas Bryant
Exactly.
is below the rim, calling for it, posted up, wanting the entry pass.
He's like, do you see the
Every
seal?
fiber,
I got him sealed.
every fiber of his being thought that he deserved that dunk.
And he did.
That was Thomas Bryant's moment to shine.
That team was so clunky. Okay, that's why I want to go ahead and give him a stimulus and put that in S tier. It's NBA
Stop
history.
that. Stop that. Stop that.
NBA history. Can't deny.
No, he lost the game.
And that's the end of this tier
Loser.
list. Next thing we're gonna do, Mo, I believe you have something 2K related to show us.
2K.
Yes, sirree. Yeah, it's about that time where, game is starting to come out. But we did this series a couple months ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 months ago or whatever, where we're going to go ahead and look at these old face scans. And I want to see if you guys can guess the NBA player by their 2K face scans. Some of them may be like wildly off or whatever, and others are just like old from like 2K5. Let's see
Okay,
your
let's
ball
see, let's
knowledge.
see it.
Last time we did
I
this,
expect
y'all got it real. Y'all let y'all off real easy because I showed jerseys a little bit. But this time, it's just number straight head in your face.
Love it. It's my favorite.
Come on, man.
Next up,
All right. So guess the
Come
NBA
on,
player
man.
by their 2K scan. Who is this player?
oh my god, that looks like Miles Morales' uncle from Into the Spider-Verse. Is that Uncle Aaron?
I ain't gonna lie. It looks like Donovan with a goatee and a mustache.
No, it doesn't.
The only thing Donovan
does.
has I like with this guy is that he's black. That is literally
Thank
No way, Donovan.
Stop. Stop.
That I am
Stop.
not lying. I
No,
am not
no.
lying.
This is not me.
But-
this is not me. This is a
see
character
the-
from Coach Carter. This is every high school student from every 2000 sports movie. That's who this is. I don't know who this is on the NBA scale.
My first thought is I see that mustache. I see that low haircut. Is this J.R. Smith?
No, it's not. Hell no, it's not.
Damn. Now I see the MP behind it, so I know it must be a young player from the late 2010s
Okay.
because they don't have a screen cap in there yet.
See, he's... God
Look
damn
at
it.
Look at him.
Is this RJ Barrett? Is somebody random?
No, it's not RJ Barrett.
This is Marshawn Brooks.
Is it a lottery?
Marshawn Brooks.
No, it's a young guy. It's gonna be a young guy. They don't have his picture. Is this a lottery pick?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, he was. He
Okay. A lottery pick from the late 2010s. Oh, this is a tough one. Is this Josh Jackson?
No, it's not Josh Jackson.
Nah, Josh Jackson had a lot of hair.
Earlier, it's not in the 2010s. I'll say that. It's not in the
Tim
early
Hardaway
2010s.
Jr.?
No, it's in the 2020s.
Damn.
2020s.
In 2020s?
Yes, you would not believe who this is.
Oh, wait, who is it? Just tell us. I don't know.
I'm cooked.
This is Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton.
Counterpoint. No, it's fucking not. It's just not.
This is 2K21 Tyrese Halliburton. Them boys didn't even try. They're just like, Tyrese Halliburton, all right, just some random black and throw on some facial hair and that's what they did. Don't worry about that. This kid ain't doing nothing.
That man
See
was
the way
at the
he
beach
shoots?
all summer. This is crazy.
They said he ain't gonna be none. Put some random on there. That's sick.
Wow.
Crazy.
All right. Next up, guess this player.
Oh my God. Dion Waiters.
He was in this podcast.
In this podcast?
Yes.
So you ranked him?
You ranked him. We ranked him today. Not Dion Waiters.
Ooh.
Not Dion Waiters. In this podcast.
Hey man, who the fuck?
Some
Tracy McGrady?
Somehow this is Kobe Bryant.
How did you know this was Tracy McGrady? Oh my gosh, you're a freakazoid.
I looked at this and I thought 2004.
You're weird,
My brain
bro.
went.
You're weird. How? Nikhil texted me and he's like, he texted a group text, he said, this is Mo. Right, not even like, give me my respect. Damn, you got it. Okay.
He
you're
looks
one
like a
from two.
bench warmer. Those eyes are wide.
They did him so dirty. It's ridiculous. They did him ridiculously dirty. All right. Next player.
Who we got?
Who is this guy?
Oh my God.
It's
He
an
looked
old
like he
man.
smelled
Who is this?
the nastiest.
And why did they do David Robinson this bad?
He had the most vile smell ever, and this is not David Robinson.
Why did they do Patrick Ewing this bad?
This is not Patrick Ewing. Keep rolling it off.
Damn it.
I am
Is it an old
so
guy like
shocked.
that?
Who is?
Yes, it is an old guy.
Like pre
Oh, this
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks so familiar. I know who I've seen this face.
Is
He
this?
smelled the craziest shit ever, bro.
Is this somehow
Who's
Doc
the other
Rivers?
Knicks big?
No,
Fuck
not
no.
Doc Rivers.
Dominique
Oh,
Wilkins.
No, not Dominique Wilkins. You're getting closer though, for sure.
It's what's his name?
What you mean?
Well,
What's
who are
his
the
name?
other Knicks bigs from the 80s and 90s?
Let's kill that. Not a Nick Big.
Okay, never mind.
He's still relevant in the NBA today.
Shaq.
He's not a player, but he does some shit.
Is this Joe
around.
Dumars?
Is it Nate,
Also-
is it Nate McMillan?
This is Joe Dumars. Oh my God. There we go.
Oh yeah, okay. I knew it was a face you recognized.
There we
Good
go.
pull.
Yeah. Joe Dumars. They-
I saw the outline of somebody I recognized.
yeah,
There you go.
exactly. They did actually pretty all right. Other than like,
No, that's not bad at all. Yeah, that's Joshua Dumars.
yeah.
Looks
Good job. Good job on that one.
I got
Next
one.
player.
That's all I needed.
Who is this player?
Oh, this is easy. He looks wild, right? But if this
Jason
is
Williams.
if this is not Chris
Hey.
Mullen, then I don't know who this is.
Ooh, it is not. It is not Chris.
White
Mullen.
chocolate. Is this white chocolate?
No, look at his head. He looked like he been hit with a frying pan.
Is this
is
Steve
not
Kerr?
white chocolate. No, not
Like a
Steve Kerr.
deadlift shrimp? I don't know.
You are correct. This is deadlift shrimp.
I know everything.
What is his head real life? This like flat on the top?
I don't know. Honestly, I just thought of the dude from Rocky. If he dies, he dies. So I thought of the first European guy I could think of.
Wow, that's so crazy. When I see this
Deadlift
picture,
I, just
is an
I profiled the
aggressively
shit out of
European
deadlift
name.
shrimp.
that is
I
so
know.
crazy, bro. You would be.
I just thought, who looks like Ivan Drago?
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious, bro. This dude loves doing headstands. That's what I see when I think of this.
Minecraft.
All right, next up.
How did I get that?
Who is this player? You should be a cop.
A podcaster, Jeff Teague.
Exactly. That's my guess.
This is not Jeff Teague.
What?
Damn it, man. Yes,
Not
it is.
Jeff Teague. No, it's not.
Yes, it fucking is.
It should be, but it's not. Jeff Teague don't got no freckles, man. What are we talking about?
This looks real. Amen Thompson.
No, not Amen Thompson.
Damn.
Wait. Were they drafted post 2015 or later?
Later.
Yeah, this is a recent 2K.
Hmm.
Who could this be?
Who could this somehow RJ Barrett?
No, it's not RJ Barrett.
It's always RJ Barrett.
You want to say RJ Barrett so bad. That's funny.
Oh, what year is he drafted in? I don't know. I can get this one.
I believe 2019 or 2020.
Is this John Morant?
No, not John Morant. Not John Morant. 2019, actually, I think about it.
Cam
Not John.
Reddish? I don't know.
No, not Cam.
What? Does
You're
this look
warm
like?
with John Morant.
It looks like Desmond Bain a little bit.
Desmond Bain, you got it. They gave that boy freckles.
Oh.
They're like, here, some random light skin.
Okay.
There you go.
Listen, I see how they got there. He was too young to get a face scan. He was a 27th pick or something. They weren't going to bring him in the office, so they could have done worse.
Okay.
Again, 2K, I do
Now,
not
again,
like
that
the
is
way-
Jeff Teague. That is Jeff
Exactly.
Teague. But
Absolutely.
It could have been worse.
It's Jeff Teague because of how deep his eyes is, bro. And plus, he looks like a funny guy.
I can hear the jokes already.
Exactly. All right, next up. Who is this player?
First of all, why is the
That's
picture?
Donovan's dad.
I was about to say the same thing.
I'm gonna tell him y'all said that. he gonna see. He gonna see it.
It does. He's gonna be like, "Damn, they're right."
When is he in the game?
Nah, y'all doing them dirty.
Say what game this is. Let me play this right now.
Is
Is this Chauncey Billups?
Wow, you got it. This is Chauncey Billups.
Thank you.
Damn. First ball guy that came to mind. He cheated.
Yeah, okay. We
He
didn't
thought
do
of the
a good job.
shiniest head he could.
Good job. Okay, I believe we got one more player, or actually two more, and you cannot guess who this is.
Kobe Bryant. I don't know. It's gonna be somebody ridiculous.
It's crazy because I know it's an old player, but this looks like Victor Oladipo.
Wow.
Oh my god, it
It
does.
does.
Is this Chris Paul?
No, not
No,
Chris
this is like
Paul.
this gotta be like 1999, 2000. It's gotta be an old game. Is this Michael Jordan?
No, I will say Donovan is the closest with his Chris Paul and Oladipo comparisons for sure.
I said Chris Paul. He said Oladipo.
So we're
Oh,
somewhere
yeah.
So
in
you're
the
saying
middle.
in terms of era?
Era and also like play style of one of those guys.
Is this Dwayne Wade?
This is D Wade. Yeah,
Oh my god.
this is D
See, I just
Wade.
knew it was an old guard that they absolutely butchered. Like this looks like nobody.
I kind of get it with the nose and the eyes is like sharp or whatever.
I
But
kind of don't. So who's that?
this is 2K5. Give him a break.
Okay. I thought it was older than that.
Nah, they did him dirty.
Deep fried ass photo. Look how small that shit is. Why didn't we expand it?
This is the game. This is the best quality I could find. All right, next up. Who is this player?
Bill Laimbeer.
I was thinking the same.
No.
Yes, it is. I don't want to hear anything else.
Is this
Timothy Mozgov.
That's actually a great guess, and you're ironically close. I hate that you're
Ironically
close.
close.
Yeah.
Kevin Love?
this Ilgauskas somehow?
No. Nope. You guys are pretty close.
You say Andrew
Ooh.
Bogut?
Oh, that's Andrew Bogut. That's Andrew Bogut.
No, it's not. Wrong.
Oh.
Wrong. Brunette. White. Keep going.
Damn.
There's only a few of them around that time period.
Zeller?
Marc Gasol?
Zeller?
Nope.
Hansborough?
No. Nope.
Hansborough. Yeah, I'm sure he pulled Hansborough out of his pocket.
Why would I do that to you guys?
I don't know.
I would
That'll
never.
bring the views.
Yeah, nah. Tyler Hansbrough on
Who
TikTok.
is this man?
Now
Brunette white boy.
Brunette White. Brad
Who are
Miller.
the swaggy white boys?
he is close to Donovan's heart.
Close to Donovan's heart.
What?
There's no white people in Donovan's heart.
Come on now.
Now, yeah,
Mac Miller?
ties with him. You have ties with this player, Donovan.
I do?
Donovan
Yeah.
has ties?
Yeah. You know, he'd be around the block.
What?
Okay, so this is either, he said around the block. This is either an old Rocket or a Nick that he's talking about.
Yes.
Old Rocket. It's not Yao Ming. Is this Kelly Olynyk? Oh, is this Omar Ashik?
No and no.
Is it a Nick?
There's a- You are correct.
Oh.
You getting
We
warm?
said the Knicks. It's not Timothy Mozgov. Who else?
What
The
Nick?
bigs do they have?
What Nick
Ooh,
is
y'all
this?
are in
Tyson
hell right
Chandler.
now.
Who did they have before Tyson Chandler?
It's Tyson Chandler. It was like
Hell.
I
David
give
Lee?
up. I'm lost. I don't know.
This is Andrea Bargnani.
oh, see,
Andrea
okay, so
oh,
this
see,
one-
exactly. See,
Sick.
so I don't like him.
Yeah.
We don't rock with him.
All right. So here's the thing. You're going to hell.
Why?
First of all, let's make it clear. Just make that up front. You're done.
You guys don't fuck with Bargnani?
No,
He was ahead of his time. Stretch big? What?
not when we got him. Trash.
Now. He wasn't supposed to be drafted there. That's you. That's
No,
Not
when
you
we
guys'
traded
fault,
for him.
but-
No, we did too much.
yeah. It is what it is.
I
But you
rock
guys
with
did
Bargnani.
worse, which is great.
Then last time,
Yes, this is
mean-
you guys are way worse than last time. This is
I mean,
W on
you
my
made
end.
it. You took away jerseys and gave us small pictures. Like,
Small pictures.
It's not my
what?
fault. guys
What did you
couldn't do-
expect?
It's not my fault. You guys couldn't do what it do.
All right, man. Next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna name 2 NBA players. You're gonna tell me which one is better.
Okay.
But I'm gonna take away one key skill from each player.
Okay,
You're gonna tell me who'd be better in this circumstance.
Oh, let's talk about it.
let's do it. Add another
Yeah,
layer.
real simple.
Let's do it.
So, which NBA player would be better without this skill? First off, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it predictable. Steph Curry with no shooting, or Magic Johnson with no passing.
Ooh.
Steph Curry with no shooting or Magic Johnson with no passing. Who is Steph Curry with no shooting? Just some light skinned dude who just be running around dribbling. running
Fucking
around
Campazzo.
for no reason.
It's Campazzo.
I think Magic Johnson has more value still because
Thaddeus Young.
he's
with
just
no
big.
defense.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
big. And he can put the ball
I guess.
in the
Yeah, I
floor,
guess
too.
at that point, height wins. So Magic gets it. He could
Yeah.
just
At
be in
that
the
point-
way.
I mean, listen, maybe you can be PJ Tucker in another life.
He
I
could
don't know.
set
Focus on
screens.
some other skills.
Grab some rebounds for sure. Get to the rim. But Curry,
Then when he catches it, he just drops it out of bounds because he can't pass.
yeah, but he could dribble.
He
though.
loses all sense of passing.
Huh?
Does he lose all sense of passing or just the he passing?
Yeah, just no thoughts between those eyes. Can't pass. He's just gonna every time.
Then in
Still a
that
great player.
case, yeah, I still go Magic.
Yeah, still a great player.
Okay. Next one. Anthony Edwards with no hops or Jason Tatum with no jumper.
Hey, well, listen.
Anthony Edwards with no hops. He still has the handle.
Just ground bound.
The way Jason Tatum has been playing, he looks like he has no jumper anyway. So we can go with Jason Tatum.
Listen, he want a chip with no jumper. Anything is possible.
That's what I'm saying. That 3-point shot is gone. So I'll go Jason Tatum.
Yeah, he'll find ways to be valuable.
Jason Tatum in this playoff run was like Ben Simmons, but he tried to shoot sometimes.
Oh, Jason Tatum in the Olympics. he shot like 0 for 16 on all jumpers.
We have first team
Terrible.
Could you
All
imagine
NBA defending
Could
champion.
you imagine Anthony Edwards? Dude, imagine if Anthony Edwards had 0 dunks to his name. His PR would be in the toilet.
Mo?
He would just be Deion Waiters, right?
Ooh.
He would just be Deion
he'd-
Waiters.
Yes, he would be.
Yeah, damn.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's good.
Shout out
ain't
Dan
bad,
Winners.
Okay. Nikola Jokic. Actually, no. Joel Embiid with no free throws or Nikola Jokic with no left arm.
Ooh. With
When
no left
Nikola
arm.
Jokic with no left arm, it's hilarious.
But listen, the hook shot can still go in with the right. Get a little push shot with the right.
He's right-handed. So Jokic. What? you took away his non-dominant arm?
He physically has no arm.
Oh.
He's an amputee.
Oh.
He's an amputee.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Crown eater syndrome, it be happening sometimes.
I see what you're saying. What's
It'd be-
what's
that
my
one
guy's
dude?
name?
Joel
That's what I'm
Embiid
saying.
with no
What's my
Emmanuel
guy's name?
Hansel?
Yes.
Emmanuel Hansel?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be like
Why-
him.
Bro, why are people
just
not
bigger.
locking him up? Oh my gosh. He's mad inspirational. He gets guys with in and out crossovers. Where is the ball going? Like, it's not going to the right. It's not going to the other hand. What are we doing? That's crazy.
Joel Embiid, without his ability to draw fouls, is still probably an all-star. So I'm gonna lean his way.
But mentally,
I believe-
he's thrown off his game. So I'm gonna go Jokic with just one arm.
The hate prevails. Whatever.
Okay. Next one. Anthony Davis with no defense or Kevin Durant with 8 inches of height gone?
KD with 8 inches. How tall is KD right now?
7
foot?
feet.
7
So
feet
it's like
tall.
6'4".
Damn, so he's like 6'2"? That's just Kyrie, right? Cool.
You literally just asked him how tall he was. He told you, and you took another 2 inches off of that. You were not listening at all.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was not. I was already thinking in my head, who is this guy? Oh, it's Kyrie.
Either way, KD at 6'4" is still like crazy. So I think,
Katie is small. It's just Monte Ellis.
yeah,
Not Monte Ellis.
yeah, Monte Ellis or just Hashim Thabit with bad facial hair.
Hashim? What?
AD with no defense. That's just Karl Anthony Towns. Monte Ellis or Karl Anthony Towns.
No, but he can't shoot. It's just DeAndre Jordan with volume. Like that's what that is.
DeAndre
Oh
Jordan
my
with
God.
volume. No, AD can't.
That's 8. That's crazy.
No defense.
That John Henson?
Oh my God.
John Henson. Oh my God, it is. What a deep
All
cut.
right, Kevin, you win Monte Ellis. Kevin Durant, you advance. Trae Young with no shooting or John Morant with no jumping?
Damn.
Ooh, I'll give Trae Young with no shooting.
Now that is Compazzo. That's Compazzo.
No shooting, no defense. Just could swing that.
He's just
thing.
running around real fast, real small.
Yeah, but I'll give Trae that just because he's a better passer. If John Morant can't halfback dive to the rim every single play, I don't know what he would do.
That cross jab be saving his life.
No, Rondo. That
Into what?
John Morant that can't jump is just Rondo. He's ground bound, hitting these layups, throwing passes.
Oh, see, now we're disrespecting Rondo's IQ.
I didn't say he had Rondo's brain, but
See,
he
why
played
don't you
him.
like Rajon Rondo?
I like Rondo just fine.
Let's unpack this really.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
No, I'm going Trae Young though.
Victor Wembanyama with a 6'1" wingspan, or Luka Doncic, but he can only shoot left-handed.
So Wemby's 7'4" with a 6'1" wingspan.
Correct. And Luka has to take every shot with his wrong hand.
It's probably Luka would still probably average like 22 a night.
Yeah, his efficiency might be like 41% or whatever, but still. Nah,
Seven-
it could be league average.
7'4" with a 6'1" wingspan. That's worse than Desmond Bane. That's worse than like.
Well, yeah.
That's worse than Geodude. That's awful. It's
Dude,
Luka.
all of his defense is gone. He has a nice jumper, but that defense is gone.
Oh my God.
His arms would look like
7'4".
On him, it would be nubs for sure.
Like you hit his ass with a shrink ray. Remember when kids used to put their arms in their shirt and have their hands sticking out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Luka.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, Luka for sure.
22 points on 41% from the field.
He's
You just turned Luka to Jordan Clarkson.
I love that.
Okay. That's the end of that one. Next thing we're going to do, let's get a little more serious.
Okay.
I'm going to name different skills, and I want you to let me know who's the best in the NBA right now at that specific skill.
Okay.
We'll start vague. We'll get more specific.
Being very
Run it down the list.
Being very serious right now.
Yep. Very serious. Real basketball talk.
Yes.
No more fucking around.
Of course not.
First off, real simple. Scoring.
Could go.
Currently today.
I would say Luka Doncic.
I think it's still Kevin Durant.
Over Joel Embiid?
Yeah, I would say Luka Doncic because I've seen him do it in every level, and also I like the 3-point volume too. I like the 3-point volume.
Does Jokic have an argument? Because when he needs to turn it on, he turns it on as efficient as anybody.
He does. He's just not the shooter. But scoring is scoring at the end of the day. It's about getting a bucket.
Yeah.
But I prefer getting a bucket
Best
in a
touch,
myriad of ways.
best down low score in the league right now.
Yeah, but bro, Luka's efficiency at the rim is disgusting.
He doesn't get there anymore though. He put on that weight and he stopped driving to the rim.
Y'all see
But
him?
when he-
y'all see the new clips?
Oh my
No,
god.
man, it's tough. It's rough.
He's looking like James Harden when he's trying to get out of town.
Oof.
Looking bad.
You know what? Today I'm going Jokic. We'll see in November what Luka Doncic comes into camp looking like, but it should be Luka.
Does KD have an argument?
No, not at this age of his career.
Damn, they gonna hate you.
They still like top 5, but I mean, listen, Luka and Joel Embiid are clearly the best volume scorers in the league. We know what Jokic can do.
We know why Joel Embiid
Where does
is the best
Shea?
volume.
Where does
Shea.
Shea? Where does Shea?
Shea's up there.
Shea deserves
Shea's
to be in
probably
this
fourth.
conversation
Yeah.
for sure.
We don't care about Giannis.
Oh, Giannis too. Yeah, KD's not up there.
Yeah, he just put up 30 points on like 60% shooting from the field, and we just still don't care. It's so funny.
Who? KD or Giannis?
I'm leaning KD. I'm leaning KD.
Okay.
Bag.
Next up, passing.
Jokic. Hands down.
You got it.
Is Jokic or Luka? Like that's the conversation. Is he which swaggy white boy do you want?
Give me the bigger one who be in the paint all the time and has less turnovers.
I think. It's,
Yeah, I think that's
it's
the
Jokic
decision
pretty
making
easy
is
for
so
me.
much better.
Yeah.
Like turnovers aren't a big deal. Good passers are going to try difficult passes and turn the ball over sometimes. Jokic does difficult passes and still doesn't turn over that much. He just makes the perfect pass every time.
Yeah. And I don't know who has life harder because Luka has the ball in his literally all the time, although he has Kyrie along his side. But Jokic has the ball in his hands like he does it from everywhere, literally.
Yeah. His processing speed and decision making with the passing is just next level. Luka's just as good as accuracy wise, but Jokic's processing is next level.
Yeah, exactly. Give me Jokic.
All right. Interior defense.
Should say Wemby or AD.
No Gobert love? Mm-hmm.
No, who? Who?
Wee wee?
He
Yeah,
deserves
keep
his
going.
respect.
Keep going.
He deserves
What
his
else do you know?
respect.
I
can
don't
learn
know any more
Rudy.
French words. All
Let's
I know
give
is
it to
wee wee
Rudy.
and baguette.
I think
It's
I
Rudy.
might.
It's Rudy.
I kind of want to give
It's probably Rudy.
I want to give AD some love though.
I mean, that's
You can show him love in different ways.
what?
Why are you like that? Why are you like that?
Why is that undertone in your voice like that too?
What, man? Next,
Check him.
Next one. Who's
You're
the next
going. You're
Barry?
being suspended. If y'all see Isaac not on the show or whatever form of like content we produce next time,
That
we're
is not
showing
what we're
this to the
talking about
higher
here.
ups. Just lowered our stock. God damn.
You buy a jersey. I don't know.
Who's the next parent?
Rudy? It's Rudy.
I'm not messing with your foolishness on this one.
Perimeter defense. This one's hard. There's a lot of good perimeter defenders right now.
Drew Holiday. Should it be easy to say that?
It could still be Drew. Could be Derek White. Could be Caruso.
Could be
I'm
Tatum.
Robert Jones.
I'm going one man.
Just Herb. It's Herb.
I'm going Herb Jones right now.
Yeah.
I think Herb Jones will
Bro.
have anybody in a straitjacket for 48 minutes. 50 minutes.
The Pelicans started CJ McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas, and Zion Williamson together and still had a top 10 defense because Herb Jones has fucking clamps and sat down all year and locked everybody up. It was crazy.
The first team all defense is all centers except for one man, Herb Jones.
Herbert.
One man, one myth,
One legend.
one legend.
Who goes
Herb
by the
Jones.
name of Herbert? Who knows someone that name?
Exactly.
Who would have known that someone by the name of Herbert would strike so much fear on that end? Crazy.
Can't think of anybody.
Herbert. Damn.
Okay. Off the dribble shooting. Besides Steph Curry, we'll pretend Steph doesn't exist because he's obviously
could
always going to
be.
be one.
It could be Luka, Kyrie, or KD. I think those are the only three that I think about. Or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's tough as fuck too.
Counting mid-rangers, yeah, but obviously the three isn't quite there.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to take them. But if he did,
Anthony Edwards could be there.
but if
too.
he did, they would go in. So it's okay.
He knew it wouldn't be fair if he could make three, so he tries to take it easy on everybody.
Exactly.
Anthony
He
Edwards has
just
a
likes to
case.
compete. No, he does not.
What?
No, he does not.
No, he does
How
not.
the fuck?
No, he
Off
does
the
not.
dribble shooting?
No, he does
Off
not.
the
What?
off the
No.
dribble shooting?
No, he likes.
No, he does
likes
not.
to take them, but he doesn't like to make them as much. So no, he's not. He's not getting that nod.
He's not even a better off the dribble shooter than Tyrese Maxey.
Ooh.
Okay, I disagree with that.
Ooh.
Off the dribble shooting.
I don't know how.
the-
That's like numerical. That's like undebatable.
Man, I
Says who?
I'm
I do. I just want to see that. I really don't care. I just want to see the stats.
I'm pretty positive. I mean, Maxey had obviously at the end of the year when he was with nobody around him, chucking his efficiency dipped.
yeah.
But every other year of his career, Maxey kills him.
You know,
Let's
just give
see
me Luka.
Maxey be
Just
the
give me
number one
Luka,
option
though.
on the team and see how that efficiency holds up. But I'd go the easy route and say Luka.
Okay, we'll go Luka in terms of difficulty.
Yeah.
Listen, if Lillard comes out this year in shape, it's probably going to be Lillard again, but we'll see.
Listen, he was working out with David Goggins, right?
Was he really?
What
Yeah,
I
he
mean?
was. It means
That's hilarious.
there's some boats that are about to be carried. Right? There's some logs that are about to be carried.
All right. One more video before we get out of here. We're going to talk about the most underrated and overrated teams right now going to next year. We're kind of make a TikTok about this, get a lay of the land on teams we buy in on and teams we're hating on right now and see how it ages.
Okay.
So
let's
first
do
off, it's 2 parts. Who is the most slept on NBA team right now?
it.
Across the league. Who are people underestimating?
The most slept on NBA team right now.
I'm
To
going.
me, it's easy.
I'm going.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Thank you.
Yeah. People see Zach Edey and they see a big slow center who can't do anything. How will this game translate to the NBA? I see the perfect interior force to complement John Morant, who Jaren Jackson can hide all his weaknesses. I see a second seed that got 2 new young wings, that got a new center better than Valanciunas, better than Steven Adams. I see nothing but high potential.
However,
Okay.
I will say, our propaganda is clearly working. The other day I saw Zach Edey is the favorite to win Rookie of the Year right now.
Good. The second he got drafted, I said he should be, and I hope everybody put your money there. It's gonna cash.
He's the favorite.
guys
So
are doing
yeah,
the
so
devil's
I'm going with the Memphis Grizzlies as the
Okay.
most slept on. Yeah, I'll do that.
I would say someone who's not on the Memphis Grizzlies trajectory in terms of like how much damage they're going to do right now, but I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. The Houston Rockets. So much
Okay.
young talent on that team. Another year, Jabari Smith Jr. You have a chance to figure out what the hell Jalen Green is, but Reed Shepard and Manton Thompson.
Yeah, honestly, they have
deal's
so
gonna be
many young guys. They have so many young guys. If one of them take a star leap, they'll immediately become a better team, and the hierarchy will start to make more sense.
Yeah, exactly. I think they could easily snuff and sneak away like 43 wins in the West.
And if Jalen Green looks like April Jalen Green this year,
Big if.
it's a big if. It's a big if, but it's possible.
You think them Bills going anywhere? He better be.
Exactly. All right, and inversely, who's the most overrated team right now? You think?
The Dallas Mavericks.
Wow.
I think, listen, obviously, and look, I understand it, right? They just made the finals. I get it. I think a lot of people are putting the Mavericks as like a lock to be top 4. I don't think they're a sure thing to be in the top 4 of the conference. I think that the West is going to be extremely tough. I think OKC is going to be better. I think Memphis is going to be better. I think Denver is going to be better. And listen, if you rock with Minnesota, you can put them at 4, right? The Lakers, let's see how they fare with the offseason change, with the new coach, right? With a coach that doesn't just stand on the sidelines with his hand in his pocket. The West is really competitive, and everything gets decided by 1 to 2 games. I don't think that it's set in stone that the Mavericks are going to have this replicated amazing season.
Yeah. This isn't really a team that's hyped, but I don't think the DeMar addition is going to make the Kings any better.
I was going to say
I think the Kings are still going to be kind of ass. They're still going to be a playing team. Shout out DeMar. I don't think he brings an element that will really change them compared to the rest of the West. So I think people think they're going to get better. If you do, I think you might be disappointed.
I think that they're going to be either like the exact same team or maybe even a little bit worse. I think they're going to be a little bit easier to guard too because you're not going to shoot the three-pointer, and that's what you were known for a couple of years ago. And now you kind of regress on that end. So it's like, I know your bag. I know your move.
I hate that we have turned from the Light the Beam pod to the Kings Hate pod, but I'm with you guys because not only do I think that they aren't really going to do anything, I think that they are missing the play-in altogether. I think that the Sacramento Kings are going to be 11th seed or worse in the Western Conference this year.
Damn. I think they can make the play-in. I don't think they'll get out of it, but I think they can be 9 or 10.
There's a bunch of teams that are gunning for
I'm being
their
generous
spot.
saying they can be the 9 seed. They're not going to be good.
Yeah, I think the Houston Rockets, I could see them surpassing the Kings because of how treacherous I foresee their future.
The Rockets and the Grizzlies are both going to be up this year. And do not let Victor Wembanyama take the leap and the Spurs get into play-in range.
Oh, God.
There's
Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes is there. They're going to definitely take
There's
the leap.
three
God.
teams.
Oh, thank God.
There's 3 teams out west that can legitimately make a leap. The Kings are in trouble.
ever disrespect Harrison Barnes in your life.
You disrespect
Don't
him on a
watch
daily
me.
basis.
No, I do not.
You don't even like Harrison.
Spell
I
Harrison.
think Harrison has done a good job to. Yeah, let me stop.
Mhm. Yeah, you don't know. You don't know.
On that note, that's the end of the show. If people are still here, Donovan, what should they comment?
Get that monkey off your back.
On that note, we'll see you guys next week.